Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Jiu-Jitsu and Coffee. On this episode, I have special guests Danny Coralic. All right, I've always called him Danny Coralic. And Aldin Coralic.
Yo.
So I've always called him Coralic, but we're gonna get it right, Coralic. And then one of my regular co-hosts, Jeff Gates. So, what is Coralic? Serbian.
Bosnian.
Yeah.
Is now I'm curious. Is that offensive if someone like asks if you're Serbian?
No, I personally will not find offense to it, but I've met people that do find offense to it. It was actually vice versa. I was in Switzerland and I had overheard these girls talking the Yugoslavian language. Let's say it's Bosnian, Serbian, Croatian, and me and my dad were looking for a place to eat actually, and we overheard them talking. So I'm like, hey, do you guys speak Bosnian? You know, I just assumed they were Bosnian. And they were like, no, we speak Serbian.
Oh, so they're that similar that you could like it sounds like your tongue.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same exact language, really. It's just that there's
It's a different dialect.
Different dialect. They say different words for different things, but
you have no problem. Just like we're communicating, you can throw down.
We can understand each other.
Yeah. Like on my resume, I will put I speak Bosnian, Serbian, Croatian. Like, so, you know, just to look cool, but it's the same thing, really.
Quadlingual, bitches.
Yeah. But yeah.
I'm going to add UK English to my resume now. I'm doing that.
Might as well.
British. I'm going to add British.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we don't find offense to it. I don't think there's anything offensive about that. We all were one country at one point in our lives, so I don't think we should ever forget that, really.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's cool that my mom's German, and she left Germany like around 20. So she's got this thick accent, right?
Yeah.
But she kind of used me and my brother to learn English. Like she did, you know, and I'm kind of resent that. Like I went back and my whole life I've tried to teach myself German. I took it in high school. I took it in college. I studied it. I still study it today. I still watch German movies. But German is such a damn hard language.
It's a crazy language.
I was married to a German wife for 2 years, and it's all we spoke was German in the household, and it was never fluent. Like the hardest part of Germany. You've tried to learn some, right?
Well, we lived in Germany, my family and I actually did a study abroad in Germany for 4 months. So I was just learning German there.
The hardest part about it, like my German's decent. It's probably better than most people's that have tried to learn a language, but it's the damn articles, the die, der, das, and then you have intransitive and transitive which I just fucking invent that shit. I don't even try. But they understand. It's like us fucking, like we have one word. We just have the. It's always the, doesn't change, and they have like 9.
Like if you were to use dare on a D, then they'd still know what you mean. It'd just be kind of like goofy, I guess.
Their grammatics are like really fucked up. Like, it's crazy how it is.
And they got these words. They call them. Well, some people call them Mammutwörter, which is huge fucking words. They just take They'll like, you know. A yellow dog with long legs. We have a word for that.
They're very descriptive.
We just scrunch it all together, and it's a long-legged yellow dog. And it's like they take words and fucking jam them all together.
Yeah, I think medical phrases are also pretty crazy in German language. Yeah.
But I'm pretty good with it. Like I watch German TV, watch German movies, and it's decent.
You should watch that show. I think I told you about it like a year ago. It was called Into the Dark. It's German, actually.
Is it Black? I thought it was Black Mirror.
No, it's a different show. Into the Dark, and it's so good. And I watch it in German. It just, I don't know.
Into the
I
Dark.
like it a lot.
Is it on Netflix?
Yeah.
On the U.S. Netflix.
Yeah.
See, if you have a firewall where you can route through other, countries, you can watch all kinds of.
I used to do that before. I would go on to like Sweden's Netflix and Germany's Netflix. They have like different shows.
They got better movies on there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Europeans do some pretty cool shit. I like their style.
Netflix, though, I just watched the new episode of Black Mirror yesterday. I don't know if you guys watched that show.
Barn something.
Jesus
I started watching
Christ.
it. It's interactive.
Movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half. Yeah, it's interactive. Dude, tripped me out. You watched it?
I fell asleep.
Oh,
I was exhausted. I didn't get any sleep. I was up till 4 the night before, and
Yeah,
then we had to
feel
get
that.
up early. So I started watching. I was enjoying it, and then I don't know at what point I dozed
Yeah.
off. I just dozed off.
Bird Box is a trippy movie if anyone hasn't seen it yet. Yeah,
I saw it.
Sandra Bullock's in it. She did a great job, man. She's a
I'll
great
watch
actress.
anything Sandra Bullock.
She's so hot,
Yeah.
dude. She's 51 years old. but
54.
54.
54.
Dude,
she's
banging.
hot as hell.
Yeah, she's holding herself together, dude.
You know her mom's German and she speaks fluent
really?
German.
Oh, that's cool.
One day I was watching the German. I watch all kinds of German shit, right? I'm watching like the German Grammys,
Okay.
right? And Sandra Bullock walks up on stage. I'm like, well, this is gonna be interesting. And she started rattling German, perfect, just like
That's
you and I.
hot.
And I was like, holy shit, I had no idea because I'm a huge Sandra Bullock fan
Yeah.
and didn't know that. She's fluent in German, perfectly fluent. I just thought that was super cool. Right?
I feel like all these kids now that are watching her like recent movies, they're like, who's this new actress coming about? But it's like she has like a long history of like
Yeah.
acting and stuff, you know?
She had that really good movie, like Blindside. Oh, she
Yeah.
did so well in that movie, man.
yeah, she's a really good actress and super hot.
Oh yeah,
she's hot.
that's the plus.
Yeah, her and like Jennifer Aniston are ageless, timeless.
Ageless.
Those are the
Jennifer Lopez is up there for me too. I'd have to say.
yeah, top 3, I guess.
I'm just not into, man. Like maybe it was the time I grew up in, but it just seems like what guys think are hot today has changed. Because I grew up in like a size 0 was like everyone wanted a size 0 ass, and now everyone's like, I want a size like 9
I want
ass
that
on my
thick
chick. I
girl.
want that big. Like J-Lo went from less desirable to like pretty damn desirable, but I still want that size 0.
That's kind of
I'm
a good
not-
point, honestly. I feel like it was like that before, but like lately it's been about that thickness level.
Yeah.
I think it's increased.
It's about that too, but like also like intelligence level too. Like I have to be able to have a conversation with you as well. You know, like if you can't comprehend what I'm saying, there's no point. This is going nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah, you could be a size 0, but
yeah.
that brain
Yeah.
ain't right.
unless they're just like stupid hot, and then
Yeah,
just,
then
like,
it's okay.
I'll
Don't
just
worry
listen to
about it.
podcasts. You just sit
Yeah.
beside me. It's all good.
Tag
Be
along.
my companion.
Stupid hot. There's a few out there. I've seen some stupid hot ones, and it's just really sick when you see them stupid hot ones that are stupid intelligent. Then you're just like, oh man, I'm missing out.
Listen out.
But so man, you're training with Mario Sperry now. Yeah, I
Yeah.
told you he's the deal, man.
Yeah.
he's the.
I'm glad like you told me about that.
Yeah.
Because I was like searching for schools, and I went to one school for a training class, and I just didn't really like vibe with it. And then I went to Mario's, and man, I was like, yeah, this guy's the real deal.
He's gonna push you to be the best you can be.
Yeah.
There's I mean that guy was a world class competitor, and you know, an MMA fighter, and I watched his he has some old school instructionals, you know,
Oh,
and I used
okay.
to study him. I used to study, you know,
Sick.
he has like, I like his half guard. I still to this day teach his half guard series
Nice,
passing and
nice.
whatnot. He had some epic battles. I think he had a battle with like Hoyler Gracie and
Oh, cool.
like the
I gotta check some of his
mid
videos out.
'90s, early '90s. But yeah, Mario's he's been around. He's the real deal.
Yeah, it's funny how you say like he'll push you to be like the best version of your, you know, jiu-jitsu, because sometimes it'll seem like I'm getting frustrated or mad, like because I can't do something, you know. He's like, come on, keep going, and I really like that. You know what I mean? He's very
Yeah.
like reinforcing with it.
Yeah. I think one of Cyborg's black belts went over to him and became an assistant teacher. At least I know when Mario first went there, he did. I can't remember the guy's name.
It's not Pedro by any chance, is it?
No. But
we
he
have
was
a
a
black
young
belt.
guy, probably
Oh, okay.
mid-20s.
Oh, okay.
Really good, multiple-time world champion.
No.
One of Cyborg's really good instructors, and I can't remember the guy's name. But we went to Cyborg's and trained once, and
Nice.
the dude was really good.
I saw Cyborg's gym. It's a really nice gym. Like it's a big open gym.
Yeah, we went there and it was like $40 for an open mat or something.
Yeah.
It was like,
Jesus.
I was like, okay,
That's a lot.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a lot of money.
I mean, yeah, she's famous and all, but like it's just. pushing
But
it.
it's also it's in Miami, right? Yeah, it's Miami. Like literally everything in Miami is expensive. Like you go out, you're gonna have to pay for parking. Like it's just what it is, you know.
We I remember like when I first went to Miami. I'm from Kentucky. I'm from Kentucky primarily. You know, that's where I grew up. And first time I went to Miami, first off, it was weird as shit. I don't speak any Spanish. I
Same.
don't, you know, and once you get to like Fort Lauderdale, that's like the default a lot of times. Like you go into gas stations and people are like talking to you in Spanish,
Yep.
and I thought that was super cool because it was like I was visiting another country. That
Yeah.
was the cool thing about it,
Yeah.
is that if you grew up in like Middle America, country, everything's pretty much the same everywhere you go. And you've been to Europe, like you can just drive an hour and you're talking another language. So I thought that was pretty cool when I finally went down to Miami. But what made it uncool for me was the pricing. Like we rented some like $300 a night hotel room, and we got there and the shit had bed bugs. It was, it was like,
even look good. Like
That's happened to us once too.
yeah, it's like shit was, and it didn't even include parking. Like you go to, and you're like $300. There's no breakfast with that. There's no maybe it was where we went at the time. I don't know, but
where were you? Were you in South Beach?
Honestly, that was years ago. We're talking about 9 or something.
So
like
Airbnb and stuff like that wasn't even.
Yeah, that
around
wasn't
back
around.
then.
Yeah, Airbnb is a lifesaver.
It has definitely, I'm going to Amsterdam in like 2 weeks, and I ended up paying like 4 days, like $120.
That's
to stay at a whole
super
house,
Wow.
That just makes more sense than paying $200 a night for a hotel.
Just like a one room.
Yeah. What's the one that's free? There's
a
couch.
hostel.
No, it's called couch.
Oh yeah, like the
Couch
couch
surfing.
surfing. Yeah.
When I was living in the Philippines in 2000, it was either 5 or 7, the first or the second time. We got invited to this party. I went there and I met these like Europeans, and they're like, "Yeah, man, we've been here for months." And I was like, "Man, that's super cool. Like, how are you affording it?" I'm just curious. I'm always asking questions. And they're like, "No, we're couch surfers. We couch surf the world." And I was like,
crazy.
Couch surfers? What the fuck is that? Like a profession? What do you do? And they're like, no, like there's people all over the world that open up their home to you to come stay there because they want to get to know you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can travel the world doing this? They're like, we've been doing it for like 2 years now. They're like, we have literally traveled around the world as couch surfers, and we just move from one to the next, and we end up in whatever country we're in. But
that's pretty cool.
That it doesn't seem to be as big now. Like I think in 2007, I haven't heard much about it since then, but it was a big deal.
Yeah, I feel like back then it was a little bit more, not acceptable, I guess. I feel like now with like everything going on, it's like, do people even trust that process anymore?
Yeah, there's always like something going on. Like Paris is having like those riots going on.
Oh, it's not
right
just
now.
Paris now. It's Brussels. It's Serbia, right? Serbia.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Like,
it's all over.
That was crazy.
There's some shit going on.
Sweden.
Also.
They're saying I read one article where it said Sweden's looking at like it's going to have a civil war.
Wow.
But
Sweden, out of all places.
I know.
Sweden.
It's like one of the greatest places you could live in the world like 5 years ago. And man, I don't know how to man, I don't know how to discuss all that. Like, I think a lot of it has to do. I know that the media is going to spin it one way, right? And the media spun it on like gas prices, right? And like taxes on gases and whatnot. But every time you hear people talking about it, it's like it's the immigration that's going on. And I hate to use the term Muslims, because Amir, are you?
Yeah,
you guys Muslim? Yeah. Which I have no problem with. It's like you have extremists in everything. There's extremist Christians. And there's extremists everything, but it's always weird to talk about now because in the news, it's become a sensitive subject,
Yeah.
But I think that's the big instigator over there is all the
Syrian refugees and people like that coming through.
And see, it is like unfortunately, it is the big wave of Islamic like movement, from these poor countries into like these developed countries. They want to get there so they can have a better life. And, I don't think every single Muslim that goes to, say, Sweden or Germany or whatever is going to be a terrorist or even a bad person. But, I mean, yeah, there's going to be a few. You can't say that they were. You know what I mean?
The German girl, the girl I was married to, she had 4 sisters. And all 3 of them ended up marrying Muslims and becoming Muslim.
In Germany?
We're talking from, just regular Germans, and now they wear the, what do you call that?
Hijab.
They wear the hijab,
Yeah.
and their husbands made them learn to read it and write it.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. That's very tough Arabic.
And even when she would visit her sisters, and this is while we were together in 2004, she said when she would visit her sisters, they would leave the hijab on. It's like, this is her sister,
Yeah.
And they were trying to get her to marry a
wow.
Muslim, and that was really interesting. But the sisters were telling her, man, that they take better care of you. I don't know, she was like, they obviously don't expect them to work. They want to raise the children, and I guess but yeah, that's really super interesting what's going on over there. That Europe used to be like at the top of my to live list, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how it's going to be in 10 years.
It's crazy right now because back when I was in like Switzerland over the summer, I'm like, on the train or whatever, and there's a whole bunch of like Ethiopians on the train, and my brother's like, yeah, like Switzerland's taking a lot of Ethiopians in because like they're going through like, you know, like refugee crisis and whatnot. Like, so it's not just like the Syrian people; it's like all over.
Yeah, it's
man.
literally all over the world. Like,
It used to be when I'd go there in the '90s to Europe, like Germany had, you know, the only riffraff they had, so to speak, were the skinheads. Like you could, you know, if you'd be on a subway late at night or something, they'd be like, they might mess with you.
I remember seeing those actually, those types of people.
They have signs in Germany that says "Beware of Nazis," like because they still exist and like they're still there. Like secretly.
I think it's illegal to say Hitler or mention his name.
Yeah.
Or like,
I like that. That makes sense. They've had a bad rip with Hitler.
Yeah, but one of the things, you know, I know we're getting we're gonna come back to jiu-jitsu, but just since Hitler come up, you know, being a German or having, you know, some German blood in me, and always I've been fascinated since I was a kid with anything Germany, and I've studied German, and up until like 3 years ago, I was certain, like, if I could go back in time, I would kill Hitler. and I'm not sure that that's not the case, that he didn't deserve to be killed. But as I've learned that, you know, our governments deceive us, and a lot of times they will flat out frame people, right? And I've been studying Hitler the last few years and reading all this alternate history. And now that my German's gotten better, I listen to his speeches. And you can even research his stuff in like the, you know, there's Accords where you can verify the stuff he was saying, he was doing. But I'll just share some interesting stuff. And I know I've talked about this before, so anyone that's listening to the podcast it's going to be repetitive. But what he was pissed off about was that Jews had taken all the wealth of the German people. They'd taken like 1% of the population had 99% of the wealth, and he just wanted them out of the country. He said they're bad people because they had this thing where they wouldn't steal from each other. They would only rob wealth from German people. And he's like, look, I want you all out of my country. Leave. I'll pay for you guys to go back to wherever you want to go. You can take your furniture with you. So it started off in a very leave our country. And then it later got, you know, more and more serious. Like, all right, I'm going to round you guys up if you don't leave voluntarily. And then, but there's some documentaries out there like Adolf Hitler, The Untold Story, and Europa, it's like The Final Battle, and there's a couple others, but it's stories from like German people and people from other countries where they said, no, Hitler was like, you know, the second coming of, you know, I don't want to say that, but they were like, no, they were saying he's a really good person. And when he would come into their countries, they would look at him like a savior, you know, like, oh, they would throw roses at him, and they were, you know, freeing him. He was freeing their country. And there's just some really interesting. So now I'm not certain. I'm not saying, I'm not out there preaching, oh, Hitler was a good guy. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, I'm just not certain because I know that history has been reframed so many times.
It's hard to really believe what had
happens,
happened, you know what I mean? Especially from that era, they don't even know 100% if Hitler actually is dead. Like, they believe he might be in Argentina.
Is Tupac dead, though? You know, like, think about it like that, too.
Well, yeah. Hitler's a different story.
Hitler's definitely dead, though. Like,
oh, I don't know. No, what you're talking about, I was listening to Joe Rogan had Tim Kennedy on his podcast, and then I started looking at other videos, and I was like, oh, Hitler, Tim Kennedy, who like was on a show to research it he took his whole like alpha team with him.
Oh shit!
And he said that more than likely, and I've since seen, who knows if they're real, but they look pretty convincing, like a video that released like CIA documents saying more than likely Hitler did go to South America and retire.
There's seriously so many like ex-Nazi and just German people down in South America. It's
entire
insane.
towns.
Yeah. Like these Argentinian people, I met a lot of Argentinian girls at UNF, and I'm like, that was the first time I met a blonde Spanish girl, and I'm like, where are you from? And she's like, Argentina. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then I started making those connections that, oh, like some of these German people moved down to South America a long, long time ago.
Tens of thousands, according to Tim Kennedy. Like tens of thousands. And they have entire towns, German-speaking towns.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's pretty cool, though.
Aryan Argentinians.
Yeah, and they're hardcore, apparently. Like Tim was saying, he was going to these towns, and they're like looking at you weird because you're not speaking German, you know?
Oh, wow.
But let's come back to some jiu-jitsu, even though I do like deviating. My passion for jiu-jitsu, you know, I've been doing it 16 years and pretty hardcore. I personally train hard. I don't, when we were talking about Mario, I know most people have a different style of teaching than me. But my style of teaching evolved, and here I am just dominating the conversation. But I like bringing it up. I like, because it's something that always sits on my shoulder and kind of bothers me, because I know my school's not like any other school. It's very different. And that evolved because I was completely not an athlete. Like, I'm anti-athlete, not by choice, but by genetics, right? The only sport I liked growing up was football, and I tried to play on the football team, and my nickname on the football team was Golden. And that meant I was just like a piece of shit, and they called me the opposite of what I was, right? They're like, hey, Golden, like, fucking go get some water for us, motherfucker. Okay, whatever, just I'm happy to be on the team.
Yeah.
But
that's funny.
I was the suckiest fucking football player, and they never put me in the entire season. I trained my ass off.
It's fucked up.
They put me in the last play of we had lost big time. We were like 20-something points down. And my nickname was, the school knew me as Golden. The whole stand started going, Golden, Golden. So the coach is like, fuck, let's put him in. And they're like, Bobby, just run left and go out. We're going to throw you the ball. I was so happy.
Sounds like a movie.
I know, but they didn't throw me the ball.
Damn it.
So anyway, when I got into jiu-jitsu, I was like, man, I can actually beat some people.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. It's like, it was more about intelligence, and at least I had a little bit of that. So that's what was cool. And as I got to a position where I could teach, I wanted to make jiu-jitsu available to non-athletes. Mm-hmm. Hence my teaching style, which athletes come into my school, and we have some athletic people. We have some really good athletes, but I'd rather cater to the 40-year-old and the 50-year-old, because Alio is a common man, and that's what made it possible for me. Is I want to teach it in a manner where anyone can get really good at jiu-jitsu, and that's how my style kind of came about of teaching. Which I know it's not like anyone I ever learned from, but
I think that's the one thing that I really appreciated from your school is. I came in as a white belt, I had a little bit of knowledge on jiu-jitsu. I've trained when I was a kid. But coming here to your school, it was very like welcoming and open, and it was a family vibe, you know what I mean? Like I see your wife and like your little girl, like they're like around, and that's just like a kind of like a nice thing because it makes everyone feel relaxed, I think, and we were able to grow together, But like other schools are like especially the ones that I've seen down south are like very intense, and it might be for a white belt or for anyone very new to jiu-jitsu, it might be intimidating, you know what I mean? So that might throw them off a bit.
Yeah, and that's the vibe I wanted. I wanted this vibe where it was very welcome, and anyone could come in, and anyone could learn self-defense, and that's what I wanted to be about. And I am outside of my priority is self-defense. Mm-hmm. But anyone who trains with me knows I learn everything I can. I'm a big fan of Eddie Bravo's system. I study his system. Friday nights we do 10th Planet, that like, or we do our best job to, we try to. I've studied his system for a long time now, and I've been loving the leg lock game for like 10 years, and but when new people in, the focus of our school is always self-defense, and I think that's pretty cool because we get mothers in here that get really good. Yeah. We get and I think that's cool. Like we got some
so badass.
We get mothers out here trucking people. How cool is that?
Yeah, it's funny because I was rolling with a guy down there, and we were rolling. We had like 4 or 5 rolls, and we were exhausted after that. He's like, "Man, you like leg locks, huh?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." Shout out leg locks.
Nice.
Every once in a while, we'll get a black belt visit our school, and I'll leg lock them. They're like, "Hey, dude, it's not legal." I'm like, what? This isn't IBJJF. This isn't a tournament, right? And what are you gonna do in the streets? And I got in an argument with one of Hickson's students online once, and it was about leg locks. And I've shared this story too, but god dang, it's the guy. There was a video posted of a guy leg locking a guy in a fight on a basketball court. He foot locked him, right? Like heel hooked him. But the dude started a fight with him, and he kind of bum rushed him. The dude just fell back and rolled under him, as best I remember. And he got the guy in a heel hook, and he's like, "Man, I'll break it." He kind of held it. He didn't hurt the guy, but the guy like knew he could feel like, crap, this is really bad. Yeah. So he was all about stopping that fight, and And
I
I
think
realized,
it's better. Like, you don't want to like throw a crazy ass punch to someone's dome and just like, who knows, they might die. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
so someone tagged me on this post. One of my students tagged me on this post, and I didn't know who the guy was. It was some dude named Jeremy Aiken, and he was a Hickson Gracie black belt. And at the top, it said he had posted something saying, you can't use leg attacks in self-defense, which was the most ironic fucking thing I'd ever seen, because he posted that on top of a video where the guy just used a footlock for
Right, yeah.
self-defense.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, that's kind of ironic that, I just kind of put my opinion there, and the guy comes back and he's like, you can't use this on the street. And I'm like, well, it's a basketball court. What's the damn difference? I mean, it's pretty hard, it was pretty. And he goes, so he gets all arrogant and he's like, well, I'd like to see you footlock me. How you gonna when I'm on mount?
Jesus
like
Christ.
I'm like, I said, and I remembered my response. I was like, well, how the fuck did you get to mount? I was like, how'd you just fucking blow past my guard? What the fuck? How'd you just get? If you're gonna talk to me like a black belt, I'm a fucking black belt too.
Yeah.
I'd love to roll with that dude. Like you're just.
Dang.
I don't see you out there competing.
That was the
I don't
greatest
see,
response, honestly.
Yeah.
Social media has fucked everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it was pretty interesting, and I was like, well, anyway,
Where does he live? Do you know?
no idea,
No, that sucks.
no idea. Nothing against the guy, but yeah, he was kind of condescending, and I don't see this guy out there competing. I don't see him making a name for himself just because you're like some wealthy dude who trained under Hickson, and
Right.
I don't see
you
him
ain't
breaking
any
house
better
for
than the
now.
rest of us, dude.
Yeah.
No better than anyone else. What makes you really good at jiu-jitsu? Training every day for, rolling off 3 to 5 pounds and studying all the latest moves out there. That's what makes you really good.
I think like one thing I've noticed for me is like, if there's a day where I don't want to train, where I'm making excuses up in my head, like this hurts, blah, 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 then I need to go. Like on that day where I'm like, oh, I don't want to go, that's the day that I truly need to go, because that'll like increase the mentality to keep going more and more,
Well, and over time it gets easier because when you're beating everyone, it's easy. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
that's just fun.
Yeah.
You just go in and beat everyone up, right? So, but man, our guys come up so fast. We got a couple guys, that beat me now. Henry's a fucking force. Jason's a force. And we got all these blue belts coming up on purple belts. But it's fun at that point in time because you're beating guys, which is just gratifying.
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
Or you're playing a chess match, because the guys that are beating you aren't muscle. You do come across a couple of them, but they don't beat you. They just fucking grind you down for a while.
Yeah.
But the guys that are going to beat you, they're gonna have to do it with technique.
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like jiu-jitsu or like martial arts as a whole is like, you can be having like some shit going on in your life, like outside of like, like the dojo or like whatever, and you come in here and you roll a couple, like, dude, that shit doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it's definitely a de-stressor.
For sure.
And I think it'll be in my life as long as I can. I get more and more injuries, like from playing rubber guard for, like, I played rubber guard for like a solid 2 years, pretty regular. My knee feels like it's separating, like that knee is going bad. Like, it's probably partly genetic, but yeah, that, like, my other knee is fine. It's the knee that I bend over. But what was funny is when I did that tournament, that 10th Planet, I fought a guy, and Luis was there. Luis was there to give me support, right? And Luis doesn't, he's obviously, I don't know what he does know or doesn't know about rubber guard, but I was playing rubber guard against this other black belt. And normally when Luis is coaching me, he's like, Bobby, pass the guard, put your hand here, push the knee, do this. He's like, he's telling me what to do. And I'm listening, right? Luis has been around a long time. But I had this dude in rubber guard, and for the first time I heard Luis, who's very supportive, going, keep doing what you're doing, Bobby. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yes.
It was like, yeah, he's not really sure what I'm supposed to do, but he liked it because
That's
it was a
hilarious.
very controlling position. So it was pretty cool. Every time I watch that video, I still crack up.
You got any competitions planned for yourself?
No. I don't know. Sometimes once in a while, I get the urge to compete. As you get older, it happens less.
Yeah.
My back is still messed up. I've got, 5 herniated discs in my back, and now my knee is messing up. And then a couple months ago, I got slammed on my shoulder, and it separated like 3 things. I don't remember all that. There's like a labrum, MC, I think it's called, or AC or MC, and then there's a third thing, and it basically just all pulled apart.
Yeah, that's rough.
And I went in there, and I went and saw an orthopedic surgeon about 2 months ago, and he goes, "Yeah, it's not quite like ready for surgery." He goes, "I think we can heal it, just doing some exercises, but yeah, I can see where it's separated."
Yeah, shoulder pain is like one of the worst.
Oh, yeah.
I had a motorcycle accident and I landed on my left shoulder. It was the worst, dude.
Yeah. And like I if I just like pull my shoulders back, it feels like there's a knife. So yeah, I'm falling apart. That's the only downside to jiu-jitsu is that it does wear on your body.
Yeah, it takes a toll on you for sure.
Unless you can just the biggest fight we have in jiu-jitsu is our ego. I think that's like that is the fight, right? Because
That's life.
If you can as you start getting good at it, you want to be recognized for it. You want to be recognized for your skill. And so many times, like look at Hickson. He has the reputation as arguably being the best grappler in history, but he also, if you just see him standing, you can tell he's in pain. And that's, there's probably 10 or 20 occasions he could have tapped out and it'd be in perfect health, but he was like, "No, I'm getting out of this." Like more than likely. I'm just saying that's more than likely what happened. But you can see, I trained with him, and you could see him standing there, and he's just like, his back is killing him.
Right.
Yeah.
So I heard he has 8 herniated discs in his back.
Dang, that's crazy.
But I've been putting off getting any kind of work because I think in like 5 or 10 more years, the way technology is going, more than likely
It'll adapt.
they'll have like, oh, you want a titanium spine? We do that now.
Yeah, no, I mean, maybe not that crazy, but like stuff like that will be going on.
Medical technology is constantly changing.
What they have is what's called Pro Discs. Eddie got one, but I was looking at them 5 years prior to this, and they cut out where the disc was, and they put in this titanium and polyurethane disc, and it's like basically bionic. And it's covered in Europe. It's covered in Europe, but they say it's experimental here, so they won't cover it in the U.S. And I'm waiting for it to become approved. But they got another problem with the Pro Disc, and if you research it, you can only get one, or it's either one or you can't get them on top of each other. So when they have put them one on top of another, they have the term they've given it medically is windshield wipes, like windshield wipers. It goes like that. So
kind of like a magnet.
One alone, it's strong as hell. Like we've got linebackers getting this done, but for whatever reason, when you put two, they don't quite operate correctly, and they slide apart.
Right.
And apparently, we have these veins that keep us alive, going right through our, and you bleed out. So it's like,
That's fucked up.
And
still in the testing phases, I guess, right? Or you said it's approved?
Well, no, they've been doing this in Europe for like, I don't know, 10, 15 years
they just
or
don't
something.
stack them anymore.
Oh,
Yeah, they don't stack them, right?
Wow.
Right, one's like fucking bionic.
That's crazy.
And
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, my main one's my L5S1. If I could get that replaced, I'd be golden right now.
Yeah.
But if I don't, if I get a fusion, it's just gonna accelerate the damage to the L4, L5.
Are you doing any yoga?
Every day.
Nice.
Well, I shouldn't say yoga. Like, I've never studied yoga per se. I took one yoga class, but I've studied stretching. And I've adopted every stretch I can for my back. And like a minimum day for me is 15 minutes, which I'm pretty good. Like I can bend down and grab my feet, no problem. And I want to get to a point where I can just I can just fold in half like Nikki.
Yeah.
Dude, Nikki is so crazy with the yoga. It's insane.
I got to the point I can go palms down now.
Nice.
I can't even go. I can't even
Yeah,
touch
he's
my
like
toes.
the
2
least
years ago, I
flexible.
couldn't touch my toes. But I'm like you. 15 minutes a day is a short stretch.
Yeah.
I'm usually 30 to
Nice.
45.
Well, yeah, that's a short stretch, 15.
Yeah,
and,
I'll stretch through a whole episode of whatever I'm watching.
yeah. And when I go to the gym, I've gotten back into working out. When I go to the gym, I'll do like a half an hour stretch. I'll sit out there and stretch.
Awesome.
And
Yeah, I got to get back into yoga. I used to do it like twice, 3 times a week, but when I moved down, like, stopped doing all that. So, got to get back into that.
Check out a lady on
Dave.
Facebook. Her name's Lisa Huck.
Lisa Huck.
Huck.
Okay.
If you ever have, she does shoulder.
She's like videos or something?
It's videos.
Yeah.
She owns a business.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, but it's on YouTube. It's free to watch.
Yeah,
but
I'll check it out.
Get on there and
Lisa Huck.
type in Lisa Huck hip pain. And
Okay.
She breaks out the book and shows you how your hip works, shows you how all the stuff connects, and then
Sick.
shows you a stretch to It's really cool. Her videos are awesome.
Yeah, you get that educational.
Lisa Huck.
Yeah, cool. I'll definitely check that out.
But yeah, all the videos I watch of yoga, you see people who are medically told, you're never going to run again, or you're never going to, and probably wouldn't. And then yoga, next thing you know, these guys are running full sprint for a mile, you know.
DDP yoga.
Yeah, Diamond Dave, yeah. But I'm a huge fan of stretching now. And if I have time, like just like Eddie, if I had time, I will do yoga. Like the problem is, I do IT work 8 to 5, and then walk out and teach jiu-jitsu, and that's every day of my life, you know.
Yeah,
crazy.
I see a lot of UFC fighters doing yoga and stuff like that.
yeah.
I know Conor McGregor was doing something like
Athletes
that.
in general, like a lot of football players. I know some football players even like train ballet, if you can believe that.
Yeah,
like,
soccer players too, just to get that balance on.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, dance is
yeah.
huge.
And that's the
Your
thing is
rhythm
like,
and
I mean,
timing.
if you want to be an athlete, like a top-notch athlete, you gotta like,
You gotta do stuff you wouldn't want to do.
yeah,
before,
you gotta like do some unconventional things to get your A game right. And just, I keep telling my mom to do yoga because she has a horrible back, and like I'm like I literally send her videos all the time of like yoga stuff. She never does it.
Dude.
It pisses me off.
Get her a inversion table though too.
Is that the thing you have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was living in Prague, they were playing commercials all the time. Like apparently, it was either like for the time I was there, like this major marketing blitz, or it's something that they tend to do more, because I would see other marketers marketing their inversion tables, and they would say, can add an inch to your height. You know, some people even more than an inch. Like that's how much our spines compress, because they're always upright and gravity is always pulling it down.
Yeah.
Right? We never turn it the other way around and let it space out. So, you know, my dad's lost like 3 inches over time. Like his spine is so.
Yeah, it's like compressing.
And here's the thing. Like I bought my Reebok inversion table for like, I don't know, $250 or something. But you can buy them on a website called AliExpress, like a $200 table for like $40 or something, and they'll ship it to you.
That's
a nice
sick.
inversion
Yeah.
table, yeah.
That website is clutch, man.
You-
It
you've been
is.
on it?
I've been on it.
I go out there
before,
every
yeah.
week. What do you I buy all my
is
shit
it?
from there.
Yeah.
AliExpress.
AliExpress. I might need to get that because I'm 5'11" now, and if I can add an extra inch, I'll finally hit 6 foot. So I won't have to say 5'11".
You know,
anymore.
but so basically,
Go get your license changed.
everything we buy in America, it comes out of China, right?
Yeah,
like
pretty much.
And basically everything you can buy direct from China without the name without the name on it, but it's gonna be the same product.
Right.
But you're gonna pay like 40% what you would pay for having someone else bring it over here and market it. And the only downside for those savings is you're gonna wait 2 or 3 weeks to get it,
Yeah.
because they're
Yeah.
gonna ship it like.
On a cargo ship.
They're gonna no they'll ship it something called e-post or something like
Yeah.
that, but it's usually about 2 weeks to get here, but it's worth the savings. Like I'll just go
Yeah.
out there and get like for example, the other day I needed some wire splicers, you know, and like to splice wires together and whatnot, but I was looking at like a pack of like 100 at Lowe's or something, and it was like $30 or $40, and I went and got like 300 for like $5 off AliExpress,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Like,
sick.
Never
Yeah.
have to deal with it again.
I know Wilson does that. He's bought a couple of things from like websites like that,
Yeah.
and they're good products. Like we still
it's
have
the
like, some
same
stuff.
product.
Yeah.
Like we don't. It's stupid to build. I hate to say this, right? Like I know people are going to disagree with me, but financially, it's stupid to build anything in the U.S. because people here are demanding $15 an hour.
Yep.
In China, they're demanding 15 cents an hour.
Yeah.
Now, I don't agree with that, but they're doing it.
Yeah.
And this headphones, if I have manufactured here, it's going to cost me $100, and if I have it manufactured in China, it's going to cost me $5. Like, if you're in business, you're in business to make money, and the cheaper if I want to do this the right way, and I come out and say, well, I'm not going to use cheap labor, I'm going to use $15 labor, I'm going to pay people what they're worth or whatnot. Well, there's 2 things to that. First off, you're just going to lose all your investment, because they're going to sell the same product for less for the other person manufacturing it in China. But on top of that, like, man, if those people, I believe in a global economy, and if those people are that hungry, right, that they're willing to work for 15 cents an hour, I'd rather feed them. Like honestly,
Exactly.
like I don't agree with the rate, but if that's what they're selling it for, and people are that hungry there that they need it, I'd fucking rather buy it there. You're like, I'm not against Chinese for being Chinese. If there's 5 billion Chinese and 4 billion of them are starving, I'm okay with it, man. I'll
Yeah.
fuck send some money over there. I know people disagree with that, and people will be like, "Well, you're just fucking not American." I'm like, "No, I'm humanitarian. I'm a globalist. We're all one."
Yeah.
It sucks that we have countries, or that we have, that we have political governments. We should just be one people. Honestly, it's fucking governments that are the problem.
They
I think
cause
it
all
might
the
be.
drama.
I think it might be honestly like one government eventually, but it's gonna be some crazy shit.
All this shit's fucked
Like,
up.
it
Well,
won't
that's
even
the
be peaceful at that point.
that's the goal, the new world order, right? That's what they're working toward.
Illuminati.
And yeah, I'm not sure that's a good thing. Although, theoretically, we wouldn't have war if we were one. At least that might be one positive outcome of it. But I think there's always some hidden covert. I just can't see any government doing something good. They don't do anything good.
I mean, Trump just shut down the government, for budget, but it's crazy what's going on right now.
So let's go back to jiu-jitsu for a minute. Let's try to. Have you watched any of the professional what EBIs or any of the fight to wins?
I didn't watch him, but I heard Gordon and Ryan won
He's
all gold, right?
He's wrecking everyone. That was the IBJJFs.
Okay.
He just beat he beat Cyborg. He beat everyone he went up against in that.
Didn't Craig Jones win as well?
I'm not sure. I know Gordon beat Craig Jones in the last.
Yeah.
I think that was EBI. Was it? It might have been. I think it was EBI. But yeah, Gordon's wrecking everybody.
That's crazy.
Were you here when we had Craig here?
Yeah, I'm so glad I went to that, man, because I follow him on Instagram now, and it's just kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like,
God
seeing
damn,
him.
he's a cool motherfucker.
He's a cool ass dude.
I'd like to be like 80% as cool as
He's-
him.
and
That'd
he's so
make
young.
me like so fucking cool.
I think he's like my age. I think he's like 25 or 26 or something. Like,
Yeah.
that's so dope.
Yeah.
It's funny because like when he was teaching, and this was a great form of respect by the student, but it was just funny. Like, he's like 45, like the student was, and Craig is explaining, and the guy's like, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir." Like, he's like, "Yes, sir." Like, it was just kind of funny to see.
Have you guys seen Dylan Dennis? That man's
I'm
insane.
not a fan of him.
I don't
He's-
like him
he's
at all.
just fucking. He's egotistical as fuck, man.
Yeah.
It's that, and that's why he's on
Conor
Connor's
McGregor's,
team.
yeah.
It's like birds of a feather flock together. Like when you try to make a name for yourself by being so fucking cocky that people like you, right? Like that's that whole Tito Ortiz thing, and that's that whole Conor thing, and that's. I've never liked those people.
I don't like it. Yeah.
The irony is, I hear that they're not like that in real. Like I've always heard. I later heard that Tito is like super cool in person.
Well, even when Conor fought Khabib, like
He said it's just
the
business.
second or third round or whatever, he said it's just business. You know, like
but
as
that's
he's getting
fucked
his ass
up.
beat,
You're-
you know?
It's not just business. Did you see the allegations he made against Khabib?
Yeah.
Conspiring with, or like, I guess you'd call it conspiring. Like with this, like one of the guys that funded him is like a
terrorist.
yeah,
something.
terrorist.
Yeah.
And it's like the accusations you're
That's a
making.
messed
That's
up
not just
accusation.
business.
Like, no one wants to hear that.
And you attacked this man while he was on a bus.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
If
like,
anything, I'd get behind the scenes with you and be like, "Yo, let's just talk mad shit
Yeah,
about each
yeah.
other," But at the same time,
Plan
don't
it
make
out.
any legit accusations about, there's people that are gonna fucking hate Khabib the rest of his life, thinking he's a terrorist.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I
that-
heard. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say that's never been proven. There's
Yeah.
no evidence of that whatsoever. The dude's just trying to be a fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a mauler, man. He will just get in there and maul you. He does that sambo shit, and he will just fuck you up.
Yeah, that's where. God damn it, what was his name? He was the heavyweight king for a long time. My brain's shot. God, anyone?
I don't
No,
know.
no one throwing. Come
From
on.
UFC.
No, well, no, more Pride and
Mm.
did some other events. Russian.
Did he just fight Chael Sonnen? Was that him? No.
No, had a gut.
I'm not sure.
God dang it. All right, everyone listening's like, I know who it is. Say it.
But speaking of Dylan Dennis, I heard he's calling out John Jones.
Yeah, he called out John
saw
Jones on
that.
Twitter last night.
I would love to see that.
John would murk him. Dude.
And I don't like John Jones, but I would love for John
Oh, in a
Jones to beat
fight?
him.
Is this we're talking
Yeah.
about a jiu-jitsu match or a
no,
fight?
like he
No,
wants
he
to
wants
fight
to
him.
fight him.
Dylan Dennis has no stand-up game whatsoever. I saw him fight in Bellator against some guy. Like his jiu-jitsu won him that fight,
Yeah.
definitely for sure. But he was standing up. He put his arms up all the way in the air. Like he has no stand-up game. Like if he didn't take this guy to the ground, he probably would have got knocked out. But I don't know, man. He was saying that he's better than Khabib and that, like, since he weighs more, that he's more of a challenge for Khabib and stuff like that. But I think Khabib would absolutely destroy him, man.
I think so too.
That man, he's the truth, for sure.
Yeah.
He's established himself very well in the UFC.
But it's weird, you know. It's like it's a fight, and anything can happen in a fight. If you're remotely on the same level, it just take one good punch to slip in there, that one mistake, and all of a sudden you're operating at like 50%.
Yeah.
You know, or it's like you're 30. You know, you're 50%. Retarded in your timing. You're just like, oh shit, you're still recovering from that first punch. So it's like watching Cyborg in this last fight was clearly the favorite, expected to win, and considered the best in the world probably, but it just took one good shot. If they fought again, she may very well win.
They're gonna run it again for sure.
But that one shot, just one good shot by Nunes, which she may not have got. It could have been Cyborg who got that first shot, and then Nunes would have been operating, 50% retarded, you know.
You know, it's kind of like life, but like even in a fight, it's like that butterfly effect.
Yeah.
Like that one step to the left created
changed
that
everything.
2 minutes later where you knocked them the hell out.
They were just throwing shots at each other as soon as that bell rang for them to start. They went in on each other.
Yeah.
It was all stand up from there, like nothing but.
It was a quick one though. Under 1 minute. It was 51 seconds.
Yeah.
I'd be scared to fuck with Amanda Nunes or Cyborg for that.
Yeah, it was pretty dope.
Bobby, what do you feel about this whole John Jones thing? Do you think he was taking these steroids again?
It's in a system. What was the last thing? It's Turinabol or whatever it was. I think it's Turinabol. Man, if it's in your system, it's not poppy seeds, bro.
Yeah.
It's fucking Turinabol. More than likely he was. They have I think when you're an athlete, it's easy to study. I was pretty heavy into steroids for a while, and it's easy to study their half-lives. You know, like when it's going to be out of your system.
Right.
It's like, oh, I can take this, and in 30 days it's going to be flushed out of my system. You know, they're all looking for athletic supremacy. You know, I like Pride. It was like anything was legal. That's the problem is when you make something illegal. There's always going to be gangsters. You know, there's always going to be the guy who has a hidden advantage.
Yeah.
I like the days of Pride.
So
just
Pride, you could do like steroids.
They didn't
and
drug
stuff?
test in Pride.
Wow, that's
Just
pretty
to
crazy.
kill.
That's how you had Mark Kerr, right?
Damn.
So I watched Mark Kerr fight someone, and when they got in a ring with him and like kind of threw once or twice, they was like, "Fuck this." I want out. And the dude tried to get out of the ring. Like he was done. He's like, fuck this.
Yeah.
And Mark had his jaw and was pulling him back into the ring, like smashing his face. Like Mark in an interview was like, he's like, when I get in the ring, I go all red. I want to kill you. He's like, I want to fucking rip you in two. I want to fucking eat your, it's like he was like, just crazy, man. And that's what happens when you're on gobs and gobs and gobs of steroids. Just like
Brock Lesnar, prime example.
I don't like that. Like if it's in your personal life, you can do whatever the hell you want. You know what I mean? But I feel like when it comes to fighting, and if you're taking like these steroids that are gonna give you an advantage against your opponent, then I don't know. I don't really agree with
just
it.
cheating, yeah.
Or you just make it legal. There's a flip side to that, and I agree with your saying. Like, it's cheating, but at the same time, it's cheating because he has more testosterone in his system, and testosterone is an advantage. If we measured yours and my testosterone, you may have 5 times the natural testosterone as me. So, but that's not considered cheating. It's like, well, that was just my genetics, but you're genetically superior to me. In one sense of looking at it, you could look at it in a way where, well, steroids can level the playing field. It can take a guy who's genetically inferior and give him the capacity of a guy who's genetically superior. But you're always going to have those cheaters, always. So from that standpoint, I liked Pride more because there was no cheating. It was like
open.
Yeah.
Does that still exist?
No.
Oh,
UFC bought Pride and shut it down. Just bought it, and it was a way better venue. What they should have done was shut down UFC and rolled Pride out to the U.S. Although it wouldn't have changed anything because we just have retards that are like fucking stand him up, beat his ass. They don't appreciate. In Japan, when you would watch the fights, which I never missed a Pride, never. you could hear crickets. It was just like all you heard was the fucking
Damn.
the stage. You didn't hear anyone yelling anything, even if they're right at the.
That's crazy.
Because they appreciated that ground game.
Yeah.
And here, 90% of people have no idea what's going on the ground.
Not at all.
They're like, quit that ass grabbing.
Yeah.
Stand up and box.
Yeah, knock him out. And it's like, dude, you don't appreciate that. You have no idea how close this guy is to dying right now. Fuck.
They just don't understand. Like last night, I'm watching Michael Chiesa fight, and the man, he was his first fight
Oh
back
my
since Connor threw that fucking, what is it, the gurney through the fucking
On the
bus.
bus.
Yeah, and he fucked up his eye, so his fight got called off. I see Michael Chiesa get in the ring, man. This man did what is it? He did a Kimura
He did a
with one
Kimura
hand.
With one hand.
With one hand. Like, you have to appreciate that. Like, yeah, he didn't knock the guy out, but damn,
Yeah,
one hand.
It was pretty
that's
sick tap
badass.
out. It was crazy.
I didn't see that. The one-handed Kimura, no.
Oh man, you gotta check that out.
Well, he had it like a regular Kimura, but then his
He
other hand
extended his
slipped,
arm.
and then the dude's arm was like this, and he just kept putting weight on it, and it just because if he kept more weight, this thing
It
would
was
just
like
pop.
he was fighting Carlos Condit or something.
Carlos
like that.
Condit, yeah.
Yeah.
Phenomenal judo guy.
He's
yeah.
a badass man.
Yeah.
But he went in there seeing all red, started throwing punches. this and
He
that.
had him in a cup. He had him in a triangle.
He doesn't have a ground
and
game,
he got him
though.
in a. What
He didn't have a really good ground game compared to Michael Chiesa. He did not.
I thought he did. I don't know.
I don't know.
Put him in two arm bars in a triangle. I think.
He almost had
Just
that
didn't get
armbar,
it. Yeah.
but shit, man, probably got tired.
Yeah.
Needed some steroids.
I don't watch UFC anymore. It's like it's a circus. I'm not. There's a few fights. Like if a really good fight, it's like two
Yeah.
fighters I want to see. It takes a lot of work for a fighter these days to get on that list for me. They got to work more. Like back in the days, and part of it is that everyone is such a well-rounded MMA fighter. I enjoyed the test between the different martial arts.
Yeah.
Grappling
Different
versus
styles.
stand-up. I enjoyed that.
That's what the original. I remember watching all the original UFCs when I
Yeah.
was a kid, and it was karate versus
and some,
sambo
That's
or-
pretty sick.
yeah.
It was everybody had a definite style. One guy was just a street brawler. He had no style. He just hit you in the head as hard as he could.
So there's no test of styles anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's about mostly superior athleticism.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Who trained harder?
Yeah.
I actually told myself I want to get to purple belt and then do an amateur fight like in the cage. I think that'd be
Well,
sick.
train your stand-up, man.
Yeah,
That was the
in this time from blue to purple, I'm gonna be training stand up as well, training obviously jiu-jitsu, and I just want to do one like amateur fight. I think that'd be sick.
yeah. You may like it.
Yeah, I feel like I would.
If I had started earlier, I would have done more. No question about it. I did one, and I honestly wasn't even remotely nervous.
Really?
The whole time I was waiting. Like I remember talking to my friends who had fought MMA, and they're like, "Bro, you're gonna be wanting to throw up. You won't be able to drink anything." And I was like, the whole time I was like, "Dude, this is so cool. I'm fucking,
Yeah, it's sick.
walk out to the ring. I like if I were healthier." And at the time, I was having really bad back problems, but. I would have done more. There's no question.
How old were you?
When I did my fight, I was like 36, 37.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, I mean, I saw like last night Chiesa and the other guy, Carlos, or whatever his name is, they're like 35, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, and they're still fighting.
I
Like,
think
that's sick.
Carlos is like 34, I think,
Yeah, something like that.
and then Kiesa's 31, I think.
I think Randy Couture was like 45 years old as a champion. He had fought
Yeah.
at 45 and was still a UFC champion.
Yeah, I don't know. Mirsad Bektic kind of motivates me because he's Bosnian and he's in the UFC. I just think it's kind of sick. Like,
Man, I tell you, when I was in, I gave some seminars across Europe and Turkey and Ukraine. I think it was 2014. And I'm gonna give a shout out to this girl because first off, I don't know what it is. Like Slavic women are fucking like
badass.
fucking
Sexy.
just well strong as fuck too. Just
Yeah.
like Jesus Christ, man. I was a black belt and I was like, pretty yoked at the time, but this like white belt girl was at the seminar and I was like, oh, I'll roll with her, and holy shit, dude. She had good technique for a girl, but just and so strong too. Just like
That natural strength.
yeah, I was like, holy shit, I'm in a fight. Like I'm actually in a fight, I was like, but it was pretty funny. I had a lot of respect for this girl, but I ended up following her on Facebook, and she's like this CrossFit champion that
that's badass.
competes all over Europe
That's
and
sick.
wins everything. She like golds everything, and then she has gold at everything she has competed in IBJJ or everything IBJJF and non-IBJJF.
Wow.
Just double gold. But
She's still doing this, like recent? Like
yeah,
recent?
yeah. Like I think she'll be a UFC if she just tests her hand in MMA, she'll be a
What
UFC
belt is she now?
champion. Purple.
Wow, that's
Her name is
awesome.
Bogdana Golub. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but first name is Bogdana and last name is Golub.
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 She might
Yeah.
be Serbian or Russian.
Might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she was in Ukraine, but
Oh, okay.
I don't know where she's.
It sounds very like
Bogdana.
Bogdana.
It's a nice
Golub.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she was. Holy crap, man! It's built just like Jesus.
Yeah.
It's badass.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta look her up. Look on my
will,
friends
yeah.
list. Look her up. She's a beast, man. Like if she fights, she's gonna shit.
I
shred.
told myself, man, like when I get like my wife, like the woman I marry, I want her training jiu-jitsu.
Dude, you know who else I think could be a champion is Nikki.
Nikki? Hell
'cause
yeah.
She's
because
badass.
she core like every time I've talked to an MMA, someone who makes a living MMA fighter, they're like the most important your core strength. And there's no woman out there with more core strength than Nikki.
Dude,
like
Nikki
her core is
so
fucking
strong. Like,
and she can do the splits in every direction. And her jiu-jitsu is absolutely sick.
isn't she like only 18? Right?
18 or 19? 18, yeah, she's 18.
Like that's crazy. She's got so much time.
She has potential.
You think Craig would be supportive of it? Like to her? For
No,
her? Yeah.
I don't. Nothing against. I don't think he's more concerned with her, schooling right now.
Yeah,
Like honestly, she's down to training like 1 to 2 days a week. More weeks 1 right now, honestly. And it's just she's like taking a full load at school,
She's in
and she
college
started
now
a
and
job.
stuff, so yeah.
And I'm like, you don't understand, bro. She could make more teaching jiu-jitsu. And well, for her even better because she could teach jiu-jitsu and yoga. And then she could get into aerial silk. Like there's so many opportunities for her that are like if she just had a small studio,
Yeah.
man, that's for me that'd be better. I would focus on
And
She's not
her
limited to
and
one
her
thing.
as like a woman, like she
could
would
focus
draw
on teaching
more
women,
in,
right?
And that'd be a great thing. You know what I mean? Just for a woman to know the self-defense.
I've had plenty of women come in that didn't train just because they're like, you have a woman trainer or something? Like they're just not comfortable training with a man, which I understand. Yeah.
That's sick. Yeah, I think she'd be a champion. That'd be awesome. I
She's-
would love to see her.
Dude,
like,
she
you know.
tapped me out one time in like 3 seconds.
I would bet on her, like if she had competed in no gis or even IBJJF as a blue belt, I would bet money on her to win.
Yeah.
Like,
I think she could too.
but I know there's, it's the world. There's a lot of great people out there, but fuck, she's as good as any of them.
We're supporting him, Nikki.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. Who's gotten really good is Jason.
Jason, yeah.
Jason's.
Pierce, right?
Yeah. He keeps bringing in new shit, man. That guy,
love
he's
Jason.
a studyaholic.
Have
Yeah.
you watched any of the Straight Jacket?
I haven't, and you've watched it.
I've watched the whole first one, and I literally started over
Yeah.
and started
Nice.
taking notes.
Is it a series or
It's
something?
just so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 8 volumes.
Oh, cool.
Eight DVD series.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think he was telling me about that.
Doesn't he do judo? He does
13,
judo, right?
14
No,
hours.
No, that's
no,
other
that's
Jason.
Jason
Oh,
Schmutzer.
okay, there's 2 Jasons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Judo Jason.
Judo Jason.
But yeah, I don't watch it because I just learn it from Jason. Jason absorbs it all.
He
and then
literally teaches
he
it
just-
perfectly,
He
like-
shares. I'm like, well, why should I study? He studies it, and then I just get it from him in
Yeah.
class.
I'm just
There's a lot under the hood in those DVDs
Yeah.
though. A lot.
That's
Yeah.
sick.
It's a lot of information.
Yeah, I just keep teaching the fundamentals and what I know, and he keeps bringing in the new stuff. So that's how we're kind of growing as a group right now.
Every time he goes out to sea, he comes back with a new.
Yeah, like a whole new arsenal.
Is
He
he a
completely
back,
changed.
is
He
he
came
abroad
back with the
still?
leg series before.
Yeah.
And then he went back out for 5 or 6 weeks and came back with the
That's
Straight
great.
Jacket.
It's like he goes abroad to like get
And
all
the
this.
Straight Jacket's really the triple threat.
Yeah.
It's- They're
Yeah.
the same thing.
Just a
Is he
couple
abroad
cool
now
things
or
added
is he
in.
back?
No, he's out.
out.
He's
now.
out. Yeah.
Nice.
Kind of sucks for him because he doesn't get to train like on the ship and
Yeah.
stuff.
He just
does.
studies.
He's just training.
Well, he just studies.
He's
Yeah.
training.
Yeah, you're right. He's training his mind. Yeah.
He's one of those
He-
guys.
He watched the whole Straight Jacket. I think he said twice.
2 or 3
Wow.
times.
That's sick. Yeah. That's what you need to do to be a champion. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
need that mentality.
But then he's got time. He's out there.
Yeah.
Just gotta be willing to learn.
Yeah.
You know.
I need to start watching more videos too. Like
Yeah.
I'll come home, you know, from practice, whatever, and then life just hits. It's like I gotta cook, I gotta do my laundry, and then by the time I get into bed, it's like I'm tired. I
That's
wanna
what's
sleep.
like been fucking me up for the longest. Like I've been saying I'm gonna come back and start doing jiu-jitsu again, but like just moved out, like trying to like get a sense of how life's supposed to be and stuff, and like just haven't even had the time, man.
Yeah.
But I miss it. Like I definitely need to start coming back and
Dude,
getting into it, man.
if- I'm not a life coach or anything, but the best thing for me, and I'm not trying to push this on anyone, but god dang, man, I went in the Air Force at 17, and that was a game changer. Like life was set up for me, you know. And then even when I got out, I just kind of continued. Like it was already set in motion, and I was already taught how to adult, and it was pretty cool. But I would recommend anyone, like, look, I don't know much about the Navy or Army or any of the. I know I wouldn't personally have gone in any of the others, but it's called the Chair Force for a reason. Like if I were, I would go, if I were anyone getting out of high school and I didn't have another plan, I would just stop by the Air Force recruiter and go, could you take me, just see what's up.
This many years later, I wish my younger brother joined the Air Force because I told him just join the Air Force.
The chair.
I've been in the Navy like 3 or 4 years.
I don't want to be on
Oh,
a
you were in the Navy?
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
I had been in the Navy for a number of years.
Cool.
Nice.
We just had a conversation. I was like, just stop asking questions and join the Air Force.
I actually wanted to join the Air Force. Like when I was getting out of high school, like I didn't really know what I wanted to do, you know. And I always loved that like FBI secret agent type stuff, you know. And I was like, man, like maybe I'll do the Air Force. And then I told my mom about it. She's kind of like the person I go to, like the first person I go to.
Probably not the best person to go to though.
And she's like, what the fuck? We escaped the war, and now you want to go back into war? She was
Air Force ain't fighting anybody.
Yeah,
Like,
like she doesn't know. She doesn't get it. Like she was like,
No.
this is the
they're in-
military.
yeah.
She doesn't
the
understand.
military.
No, Air
but-
Force isn't. Yeah, that's like, yeah, no, not quite. We're like admin dudes on the back end going, we're here for you, buddy.
My brother ended up in a 3-star hotel in a desert for 7 months.
Wow.
It's like,
Isn't Air Force like if shit gets crazy, like if it's like time to start throwing bombs from the planes, that's
no,
when they
that's
come
the,
in, or
the Air Force
No,
has
well, like,
so few aircraft.
Oh,
It's
really?
like,
Shit.
the Navy has all the aircraft.
Only
okay.
1% of the Air Force flies.
okay.
Very
So it's
small.
very more like the administrative.
Yeah,
side.
kind of like we're like the administrative staff of the military, and like all the jobs are like I went in and took care of generators and switchgear. I made power.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like I took care of there was comm stations that went all through Italy and all the way up to Germany. So like the Middle East could communicate with Germany, and I took care of unmanned radio tower. Well, the generating equipment, unmanned radio towers, and they were all on top of ski resorts. So they would send me to these ski resorts, and I'd do my business in like 6 hours, and then I'd be with some radio guy, and it'd take him like 5 days to do his shit. So I would just ski for 5 days.
What? That's so
Dope.
sick.
So-
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm in the middle of the ocean with 300 men floating around.
Yeah.
And that's why I told my brother to join the Air
Yeah.
Force.
Damn.
They
And
got
then
some
you
cool
you-
jobs.
You're,
Like
you're gonna cross paths with
Because-
other
Yeah.
branches and hear stories. And every Air Force story I heard was like, why did
Well,
I
yeah.
join the Navy?
like why wouldn't you go in the Air Force just to see what job they're going to offer you? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like you can always just go in and be a dick because you have no intention
Yeah.
anyway. Nah, man, I want this job.
Do
I
they
want
randomly
this-
give you, or do they kind of test you? and
You'll
stuff?
take the ASVAB, which
Yeah.
is the standardized test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that'll tell you what you can apply for.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, you know,
And
and
if you get a certain score, you'll take a few extra tests.
Right. Right.
yeah.
Nice.
And like when I took advantage of when you're in the military, well, especially when you're in the Air Force, you're bumped up, you're higher for hops. You could hop anywhere in the world on an air. You can just jump on an airplane and fly to. I was in Italy. It didn't cost me anything to go home. I jumped on a hop, flew home to
Oh, yeah, Amir told me
Kentucky. I
about
would
that.
jump on a hop and fly over to back to Europe. I'd
Yeah.
hop over to Germany, and then they're paying for all your college when you're in. And then you get out, they pay for all your college. And check this out. You get out with the GI Bill. So first off, they paid for all your college. Then you get out with the GI Bill, and if you take one on-site class, like University of Phoenix, if you just go take one class in the evening, just one, they give you a $1,200 a month stipend. I hope I said that right. Stipend,
I
stipend,
think
whatever.
stipend, yeah.
It's $1,200 a month. The military is going to to live on.
And you can still work.
You can still work.
Hell yeah.
And you're just taking one class a week, you know?
Dang.
So
And what's wrong with
That's
that?
crazy.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing,
That's like
no.
sick. Like take a 6 p.m. class or something.
Dude,
Yeah.
we fucked up, dude.
yeah.
The Air Force.
They take you up to like 36 or something, but it's
He's like, you still got that.
I would
still
do
take
it.
you.
I would do it in a
They'll
minute.
still take you if
They
you're
just
healthy.
life's so easy. You don't deal
Yeah.
with anything. Like you get in trouble, they give you a military lawyer. They getting
Jeez.
everything is so fucking easy. You don't you don't have to worry about medical. It's all taken care of.
Yeah.
They got your back, dude.
I feel
They
like you
got-
had
yeah, they do.
a pretty cool like location. Like you were in Italy. That's sick.
Yeah. Well, most people, I don't want to say you're not guaranteed, but you have a really good chance of getting where you want to go. You can go.
Oh, okay.
You can go to
Cool.
Europe, Asia. They typically say you get like one of your first 3 choices. That's very common. So I just put in like Italy, Germany, and some other European
really cool.
place. And
Yeah.
That's dope, man.
yeah, I
Me
was
and
trying to
him-
get to Germany, but ended up in Italy.
He and I are going to Europe this summer, and we're going Bosnia, Croatia, Italy, and Spain. And we've never been to Italy and Spain, so I'm really excited to see how it is down there. Probably
Yeah.
fall in love with an Italian girl or something.
Italy was
Do
dope
it.
as hell when
Italy
I
is
was there.
awesome.
You been there
Yeah.
too?
Yes, go to Pompeii.
Pompeii?
It's just a train ride away.
Okay.
It-
From
yeah.
Rome or?
Yeah.
Nice.
Like a few hours away, I think.
That's not
I
bad.
can't remember. It's
The
but
train system
Their
is
trains
so
go so
effective.
fast
Yeah,
over
it's
there.
like-
It's not
I
like
wish we had trains here.
I definitely wish we had trains
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Their clubs are super cool.
Yeah.
They have these really big Euro clubs.
Hell yeah.
Italy's really known for
Oh, yeah.
like people go down there on vacation
Discotheque.
to go to their discotheques.
Yeah, they got like
Yeah.
that, like
Crazy.
that house.
Yeah, they got that vibe.
dubstep.
Oh yeah.
You definitely enjoy going out. We have some good stories with Amir. I took Amir and he got like punched by the fucking bouncer. Like he was trying to get out of it. He got trapped in a club. Like it was, he didn't have any money on him. And we kind of separated somehow. I don't even know how it happened, but he ends up in some club and, he just started drinking. And he's like, he didn't know it, but it became pay to enter. And it was like
Was it-
$100.
You
or
have like
something.
one of those cards or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah,
and you punch
oh,
it off.
dude.
Yeah.
No, I don't know how it worked, but he just got hammered drunk, and then he's trying to leave, and they're like, "No, bro, you got to pay," and he didn't have money to pay. He didn't have, so he ends up getting in a fight with a bouncer, and it's been a few years, but it was a good story.
Yeah.
I can
got
see
it.
him doing that.
Italian discotheque story. I was going out. You have to have a Liberty partner when you go out in the Navy. We were in a port in Italy, and you have to go out with somebody.
Oh,
Even
okay.
if you stay out all night,
Yeah.
don't come back till the dawn. You still have to be with somebody. You sign out with them, so you know who your partner is, and you stay with them all night. It's just how the Navy works. So my Liberty partner was Nate, and we go to this bar, and it was crazy because there was regular bar on the two ends, but the two big sides was like 8 saddles, like full saddle, stirrup, put your feet in it, everything, which was strange to see in a bar. But
yeah.
we just started drinking, and I ended up like almost midnight falling asleep in the back of this place didn't even start getting crazy till like 1 a.m.
Right.
Like it was no 9:30 we go to the club. These people didn't even leave their house till midnight to go to the club. I wake up at like 1:30 in the morning. There's 2 like go-go girls standing on each bar, and people lining up with money, handing them money, and they're dressed in almost nothing, holding 3 bottles of booze in each hand, like
Damn.
1, 2, 3, so 6 different liquors, and you just hand them whatever, and they just pour it in your.
Damn.
That's crazy.
We got so wasted, like they opened up the wall, like when it became a club. Like
Oh, okay.
literally, it's a
Yeah,
bar
yeah.
by day, and
Got
then
bigger
they
and stuff.
10:30, 11, they open a wall, and it was like 3 times the amount of space.
Damn.
I mean, it was literally a bar with a secret club behind
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
and they
that's
didn't even
sick. Yeah,
open.
I love that.
It wasn't doors. It was literally the walls moved out, and it became. I mean, it was probably 10,000 square foot, and then at midnight, opened it up, and it was like 4 times the size.
Damn. That's
Dude,
awesome.
I got a better
Huge.
one. If I lived in, it was called the region was called Brescia, and I lived in a little town called Castiglione della Stiviera, and it was about maybe 15 minutes from the largest discotheque in the world. It was called Il Genux, okay, and it looked like Disney. When you went in, you drove in under the sign, and if one of these letters fell on your van, you would flatten, it would crush you. Parking lot was massive. It'd take you 10 minutes to walk to the club from the parking lot. But when you went in, it had 3 different massive, unbelievably massive discos that all played different music. And they had upstairs, and they had this basically park out back. So if you met someone, you could go out back, and they had 3 different pools. And not just a square pool. We're talking like it was a park, and they
Yeah.
had pools, and you could just go walking through the park, and it was huge. People came from all over. You would go there on the weekends, and you could hear every language being spoken.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because people would travel from everywhere to go there. But that was like 15 minutes from my house. So every weekend,
wow.
that's where I was. I was
Yeah.
at the Genix.
Nice.
And that was pretty cool. They had this one club that the second floor was made out of like, it wasn't actually glass, but you could see through the second floor. And that was totally cool. 'Cause you're just like,
Stripped
I
out.
want to meet her.
Yeah, I'm honestly excited for Italy and Spain because every time we would go to Europe, we would just go like usually, Bosnia, Germany, and I've been there so many times. I want to see like the newer parts or the parts of Europe that I haven't
Are
seen.
you going just for travel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Italy's awesome.
How long are you
Spain
going
is
for?
awesome.
15 days.
Yeah,
No, 15 days.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Just
2
you
weeks.
two?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone's welcome to tag along. We don't really care, but
My parents are going to be there, but we're not going with them. We're like doing our own thing. And our cousin has a wedding in Bosnia, so we're going to get lit with that.
Now, what's
Nice.
I always forget my memories. I just don't remember relevant shit. What is Emir? Is he Bosnian?
He's Bosnian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's Bosnian's better? Urals or Ramir's?
so like Emir comes from a part of like, so essentially he's from Serbia because like there's like a city in Serbia. It's called Prepolje or Sanjak. It's like what they're
The
called
area.
for. And like they have like different like accents there and like, cause obviously they're from like Serbia,
It's
you know,
the dialect.
the dialect's different and stuff like that. So he's just Muslim and stuff like we are, but like most people who are from that area, they won't say like, yo, I'm Bosnian. They'll just be like, I'm from Serbia. Like,
Yeah. But his language is good.
He speaks good.
Like my brother said, it's just the dialect. But grammatically, he speaks very well.
yeah, he speaks well.
So when you all go there,
Mhm.
do they know you're not from there?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
So here's the
Yeah.
problem with like us, and like I think honestly any foreigner living in the States or anywhere abroad, it's like we don't really have a home. if you
We
think
don't.
about it.
No.
Because I was born in Bosnia, and then I lived in Germany, and now we live here. And it's like when I go back to see my family, they're like, "Oh, you're the American."
That came to
But
see
when I
us.
come here, it's like, "Oh, you're the Bosnian."
Yeah.
Like, where the hell am I from? You know what I mean? So growing up, it was always tough, like to find that balance of it. But you
And
know.
they can kind of tell too, because like
Yeah.
when we talk Bosnian, I guess like me and Danny can definitely understand each other. And I can say like, yo, we speak really well.
we
you
speak
know?
really well. Yeah.
But like they can just tell by
yeah,
the
I
way
guess
that we talk.
we have
and
like
the way
an
we
accent,
dress.
you know.
Oh, for sure.
Like when we speak English and like our tongue moves in a certain way now, and so like when we say a certain word in Bosnian, it's gonna sound a little bit different. Probably
Yeah.
the same way with your German.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Say when I just go home to New York for a week, I bring the accent back.
Yep.
I'll bring the
yeah.
accent back for a whole,
Dude, it's
whole week.
crazy how it works.
Like, I'll
Like,
go up there and they're like, yeah, the Southern's back.
I remember one time when
Turn into a Northern speaker
Yeah.
again for that week, and then bring it back down here for a week.
yeah, it's crazy how it works. We one time came back from Germany. We were kids.
But we tried to order some ice cream and it
We're
did not
trying
work
to, we're
out.
trying to get ice cream, and I'm like, let me get eine Kugel. And I'm like, wait, that's German. Let me get one. I
we
forgot how to say
forgot
scoop. And I'm like, let me get one thing.
This is so funny because my mom and her sisters were getting ice cream here a few years ago. I guess probably been 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. But I always thought it was my mom, but they corrected me because I remember hearing the story. But it was actually her sister. But so my mom and her sister go to get ice cream, and my sister says to the guy behind the counter, "How big are your balls?" The dude said, they said the dude started laughing. He says, "Ma'am, I've never been asked that. Never been asked that."
That's funny.
That's a crazy ass question.
Yeah, how big are your balls? They're big enough, chick.
They got good ice cream in Germany though.
Oh yeah.
Some really good ice cream.
Yeah, that shit's made
Wait,
fresh.
Italy is really known for the best.
Oh, yeah.
Gelato, right?
Yeah, gelato, sorbet.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, sorbet.
So it's just their word for
I
it.
feel like
but yeah.
gelato might be better, honestly.
We're gonna get fat.
Gain
some weight.
Yeah. Eat as much pasta as you can while you're there, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I really don't eat pasta even here, but
You know what's
down
dope
there.
about Europe?
at
For all
least, at least go out for some
I'll have
good
to
pasta
there,
a
yeah,
couple
for sure.
times. And I remember the first time we went out in Italy, Spain. It didn't matter. First time we went out, there was 4 of us all went out and had appetizers.
Mm-hmm.
We ordered wine and we were looking at the price and we're doing the math in our head and we're counting out our money. We're
Yeah, trying to
converting
figure
in
it
our
out.
head.
Yeah.
We're like, man, that okay, yeah, I'll take a glass of
Yeah.
wine because it was like $7 or
Yeah.
something, $6.50, something like that, American.
Typical price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They bring out our wine and they bring out 4 bottles of wine.
Hell yeah.
A bottle of house wine was
That's
$7.
beautiful.
Of course, it'll be more now.
my dinner
'cause
goal.
of inflation, but yeah, we thought we were ordering glasses of wine. They brought out 4 bottles
Hell
of
yeah.
wine. We're like,
That's insane.
You know, the cool, what I really miss about there was the fact that you could just be on the highway and pull over and get good food,
Yeah.
right? Without getting off the highway even.
Yeah.
Just like they have like these
On the side.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
pull off on the side and have really good gas station restaurants, like great pasta. You're like, holy shit, I'm at a gas station
That's crazy.
eating pasta, and it's delicious. It's
Yeah.
better than anything I had in the U.S.
That's in Italy or just like kind of throughout
all
Europe?
throughout Europe. All
Yeah.
throughout, now they've adopted that. I mean, they're I think they're more common in Italy. Like in Italy, like they have these the gas stations you can pull off on either side, but
Oh,
they're
kinda like a
connected.
pit
To
stop
the
thing.
highway, yeah.
They're
Yeah.
connected by a overhead restaurant that runs
Oh,
over the
sick.
highway. So and it's glass on both sides, so you
That's
just
really
sit and
cool.
watch the cars go by.
That's
but
really cool.
it is cool. It's super cool. And they have them in Switzerland, and they do have them in Germany, but I think they kind of do it better in Italy. I always have better memories of the ones in
Yeah.
Italy. But yeah, you can just eat anywhere.
That's sick.
I remember, and Amir's so fucking funny. I remember we when I was there with Amir, we went to this. We went and ate at a gas station or something, and you know we go to the bathroom. We're a couple of us are on the way to the bathroom, and I hear fucking Amir in the stall next to me go, "Holy fucking shit, an Autobot," or you know something like that. Like this fucking transfer, when you go in to use the bathroom or after you use the restroom, it's after. So you sit down, you use the bathroom, and you get up. This fucking mechanical scrubber comes down and cleans the commode for you, and then goes back up. Like it just like it cleaned the whole. It cleaned the whole toilet,
That's
you know,
sick.
and the way it did it, like the scrubber kind of engaged and the seat spun around in it, and you know, just kind of looked like it was transforming.
Europe is
into-
pretty big on their bathroom cleanliness, is I've noticed. Like when
They
you,
have attendants in there, and
yeah, they have attendants. Like you have to pay to get in. Like I
Yeah.
think it's pretty cool because it's
Yeah.
like I don't want to be going into some crazy ass looking bathroom.
it's
like,
worth the 10 cents or
Yeah,
whatever it is. And if
yeah.
everyone paying 10 cents, it pays for someone to keep it super clean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, hate when I go to a bathroom. It looks just like.
and they always
something
sell
exploded.
like the discotheques. They'll always sell like Lucy's, cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know, all gum,
Those
all
guys,
kinds of stuff.
those guys in the clubs, like
They're
the
so
bathroom
trippy.
attendants, just always like trip me out, honestly, because it's like you'll go in there, and there's no way I'm giving this dude any money, like just because I just took a piss and I didn't even wash my hands, so like you didn't do anything, dude. So it's just kind of like awkward. You know
It's
what
a
I mean?
very awkward
because
moment.
I just
while
look
you're
down,
there.
I'm like, all right, bye.
Oh man.
Dude, I eat it. I get Subway a lot. You know, I'm mostly vegetarian. I'm working on being devout. It's hard, but
Yeah.
I'm mostly vegetarian. And man, I just, you know, every time I go to Subway, this one guy starts calling me out. He's like, you know, mentioning the tip jar every time. He's like, yeah, man, I'm just not getting any tips. And I'm like, well,
You're
You ain't getting one right now?
You're getting paid an hour.
this
like.
isn't, you know, it's not fucking, you know.
You're not serving me.
I don't
Yeah,
like
I- you
I
know.
don't like when they make it known. You know what I mean? Like if
Like-
I'm gonna give you a tip, I will give you a tip. You don't have to
Yeah.
let me know
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? And I'm not the type of stingy person to like not give tips. I feel like I'm a pretty good tipper. But like I remember one time this woman delivered pizza to my house. And keep in mind, I'm a broke college kid. So like I don't really have money like that, like at the time. So it came out to be like $15. And I gave her like $3 tip. And she's like, $3? Really? I'm like, well, damn, like I shouldn't have given you anything.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna
Dude.
complain,
Yeah,
like
give
that.
it back.
Yeah.
And those are
Well,
the type of people that are gonna complain about their jobs too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, tips. It's like become everywhere now. Like I'm gonna put out a tip jar in my jiu-jitsu school. It's like because everywhere you Dunkin' Donuts, tip jar,
Yeah.
Subway, tip jar. Everywhere you go now, it's tip jar. Like I'm go to the pay at the gas station, tip jar. You know, it's
Yeah.
like when did tips become normal for everything? You know, it's
Everything.
like if you're getting a regular hourly salary, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, tipping should be up to me at that point in time, but definitely don't throw it in my face. I
Yeah.
mean, if you make me a fucking phenomenal sub and
Yeah.
I'm like, God damn, that's fucking badass, I'll fucking give you $1 or
Yeah.
$2 for that.
No, like at my job, like there's a little convenience store on the bottom floor, and I mean it's literally a convenience store. Like I'll go and buy a drink, and I'll go to pay, and then she'll turn the iPad towards me, and it gives me
Yeah.
the tip options. I'm like,
Yeah.
what did you do? You just rang my
Yeah.
thing up. Like,
Yeah.
like I'm the one that picked the drink out. You know?
I
It's
know.
like-
I went and ate at a burger joint, like Epic Burger, which has great burgers, by the way. But when you spin it around, it like doesn't even start at like 15%. It's like 18, 20, and 22.
Yeah.
It's
I
like,
think you can pick like what
Yeah.
percentage you want.
yeah, and I'm like,
Oh,
It's just funny.
it's interesting
I
where,
just
where
say-
we're going.
No, just go to signing and just sign. I'm on my way, but
I think you got to earn that tip. Like if
You gotta earn it.
if
you know, if you call down and she delivers the drink to your desk, then
Yes.
she's gonna
Yeah,
get a tip.
get a
I
tip.
do reserve a tip then. Yeah,
I just walked up to a counter, ordered my food, and you're gonna give it to. You're not even gonna serve me, and my meal's $30 for me and my wife. You know, it's like a high, and like and now you want a 15% tip.
I think
or
with the food,
18%
I think
tip?
with the food, when you order, I think they split the tip amongst themselves. Like if you were to order at the register or whatever, they will probably split that at the end of the night.
Yeah, yeah.
But like at a store, like you're not doing anything. You're just literally like you're doing your job. Like,
Yeah.
and you want
Yeah.
a tip. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
you got to wait on me and like refill my drink
Yeah.
and like, I mean, to get a tip, and even then it's like,
But I love like having like someone, you know, like who is your waiter, and they're just the best. Like
Yeah.
they're just like
They're checking
you're
up
having a
on you,
great
yeah.
time with
Yeah.
the waiter.
Yeah.
Then I love to give a tip.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh man, this guy deserves
Not
it.
checking on you too much though.
He's not checking on you too much. Yeah.
but if, well, you know, what was interesting is Anthony Bourdain, you know, when he died, a lot of his quotes came out, but one of them he said was like, if you're not a generous tipper, you're like the scummiest person in the world to me. That's like my number one thing. Like you're a scumbag if you're not a generous tipper. So if you're not a generous tipper, like he even had that generous in there, right? And I'm like, well, that's easy for you, motherfucker. You're worth like $100 million. You
Yeah,
can be generous.
you got
like,
money,
What
yeah.
about people who are fucking going to college and scraping?
Yeah.
How you expect us to be generous? You
yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought that's interesting. Like you don't know someone's struggles. You have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like
although-
all these rich people, like they're always like, money's not the, answer to happiness, and it's not. Like I know it's not, but I mean, it'd be nice to have money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Certain things wouldn't be like an issue like that. You know?
So, Bobby, back to you being like a vegetarian. How's that been working out for you? Like, you feel better and stuff like that, or like more energized or anything?
I don't know if I feel more energy. I don't know if I feel a change at all. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I mean, just giving it serious thought. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I really. For me, I did it. For me, it was about like animals are sentient beings, you
Yeah.
know. And I don't have a problem with anyone's choice. I don't. But if I can reduce the amount of sentient beings, and as I get better at it, like we grew up eating meat. Our parents taught us to eat meat. Their parents taught them to eat meat. And maybe, but if you don't have to eat meat, like here's the thing, like I can eat a vegetarian meal and enjoy it just as much. Like when you actually have a vegetarian sub and you make it right and you put the right, stuff on it that you like I'm not missing the meat. I'm not like,
Yeah.
oh, where's that meat? I'm like, it's a good sub. I actually enjoy it. Like
You taste the freshness of it.
yeah, and it's not heavy on your stomach afterwards. There is that. There's no digestion period where it's heavy on you. I kind of feel better about myself. I'm like, I didn't have to kill something, right? Because I am an animal lover, and I'm okay. If you're hunting for your food and you kill an animal and you eat it, I'm all right with that.
Yeah, that's cool.
But if you don't have to kill an animal, why kill an animal? Like, essentially, we're penalizing that animal for being not intelligent enough to communicate with us. Because animals know love, and animals know fear. No animal wants to die, and no animal. It's like saying if you were dumb enough, I could eat you. It's like, well, I don't feel bad. He can't communicate with me. Like we can eat dumb people. It's all right, you know. And
That sounds horrible.
That's possibly how Homo sapiens came to rule the world.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a shitty thing if you think about it. Like we're eating, we take a dog into our house and we're like, oh my God, I love this dog. I would kill a policeman if he killed my dog. But it could be a cow. It could be anything.
Yeah.
But if we don't see it, we're all right with it. And it was like a personal choice I made where I just said, I want to kill less sentient beings.
That's a good way to look at it, honestly.
But then you start looking at it, and then you start seeing articles come by that are like, scientists are on the verge of translating how plants communicate with each other, and it's like,
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
and then you're like, damn, what am I going to eat?
Yeah.
It's like, what's left? If the plants are going, oh shit, they're going to eat us.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? But I'd like to think that, algae and shit has no idea it's being eaten. I don't know, fucking leaves,
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like I heard trees can communicate with each other.
Yeah,
like that's
you know.
just insane.
That's wild.
But yeah, that's really how it came about for me. I guess I've lost a little bit of weight, but I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, I feel like your body's definitely thanking you for it.
I like to be in 185 more. I'm 170 walking around now, but
Wow.
I'm like too skinny, but that's all right. That's my genetics, honestly.
I feel the same way. I've been trying to put on 10 pounds for a couple of months now.
Yeah. Are you also? You're not vegetarian though, are you?
No,
No. Yeah.
I eat everything.
Yeah. I want to get to 180, but like I need to like muscle 180, and then I'll be good.
That's my problem. I started eating like a pig, and I just started getting a gut.
Dude, same
I need to eat like a pig and do some strength training.
Yeah.
But
Are you doing any supplements or anything like that? Just all natural?
yeah, I do. So I do different supplements, all like vitamins and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't do any like GNC style,
Like mass gainers and stuff like that?
No, nothing like that. Nothing.
Yeah. I don't really do it either. Like I'll do protein, but I bought this vegan protein, so like
Yeah.
I liked it. Like it's not heavy on my stomach, like because I have stomach issues.
Protein
you know what I mean?
shakes. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're kind of
I agree
heavy.
with my stomach.
And I've been drinking it with water. I've never done that before. I kind of like grossed me out with water, but this one is really good with water.
With
It's
water.
even better than with milk, which is weird.
You know, the Diaz brothers are actually vegan. Like, they go vegan before their fights, and they cut out, like, cheese, like, all that stuff.
that's
Like,
pretty sick.
They always end up being underweight, and, you know,
Yeah.
those
I
guys.
gave up
almost-
milk years ago.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna say
man.
almost don't touch dairy.
The only exception is I
Some
eat pizza
cheese.
from time to time. So
Some cheese.
I
that's it.
cannot give up cheese, man. I'm obsessed with cheese. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, you'll love Italy and Spain then.
yeah,
Because
I know.
there's cheeses that
Yeah, they
aren't
got good cheese.
allowed, in America.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, the just the different ways they make and
Yeah,
age cheese
that's
is
sick.
not the U.S. won't import certain cheeses
Yeah.
the way they're aged
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
bacteria that is used to age them.
Yeah. I'm definitely excited for that.
Oh, for sure. Like the marbled blue cheese over there is just.
This guy used to wake up in the middle of the night when we were kids and, like, would go downstairs. It'd be like 3 a.m. in the morning. He's eating cheese.
I swear, yeah, like I'd be in the fridge, like eating cheese.
My wife's the same way. I swear she's part mouse.
That's so funny, man. But I need to do that. I need to give up cheese and like dairy because I need to get these abs, man.
So one of the things, abs are out of reach for me. It's
Out of
not,
reach.
it's not. I gave up on them. I
You
just
gotta-
minimize my one pack. One of the parts of the show I like to go to, and I'm just curious, are you guys? Do either of you have any non-mainstream beliefs? You call them conspiracies, call them non-mainstream beliefs. Is there anything you believe that the bulk of the world doesn't? And that's
I don't know. I guess I would say, and I think a lot of people think this. I would say that we are kind of controlled by one
oligarchy.
elite group.
Yep.
But I think that's kind of like a thing that more and more people are realizing by the day, by the year.
Who do you think the group is? Do you think it's any inkling? Like,
Definitely, I would say probably some kind of politicians and very just wealthy people.
Yeah.
Like I don't really have an idea of who it could be, but what about you?
I'm gonna make enemies. I'm gonna be honest. Like, the more I study, I think it's a Jewish cabal.
Wow.
Right? I'm not saying all Jews are bad. I think there's just like not all Muslims are bad, not all
Yeah.
Christians
Right,
are bad,
right.
but it's a Jewish cabal. And like the I've been studying more and more about Judaism, and they have something called the Talmud, right? It's like kind of like they're part of the Bible that you're not supposed to discuss, right? And they refer to us as goyim, and goyim, that's if you're not a Jew, you're a goyim. And they consider goyim as cattle, and they believe that it's that their belief. If you're a devout Jew and or maybe an extremist Jew, I'm not an expert. I'm trying to learn that goyim should work for you, and you just sit at the table and count the money. And it kind of aligns with what we see. Like, here's the irony: is 1% of the world or 1% of the population controls the world. They control Hollywood. They control the banking system. They control social media. Zuckerberg's Jewish. The guys who created Google are Jewish. The guys who created YouTube are Jewish. If you look, they control all social media. if you look at the 7 major media channels, they're all Jewish owned. The same in Europe. It's the same. How did you know? There's only 16 million Jews in the world. That's all there are. 16 million out of 500 billion people. It's less. It's 0.02%. It's not even 1% of the population. 0.02. Yet they run the entire world. They do, and that's like that's fucking weird, bro.
Yeah.
That's like how did 0.02% of the population, not 1%, 0.02.
Yeah.
Come to run our world, and they do. The only place they don't get involved, and how do they have this superiority in business? And they're not in politics at all. They're not even. There's no senators. There's no congressmen. That's a choice, because it would be too obvious. So what they say is, I think they intentionally stay out of politics so we don't recognize it so easily, right? There'd be an uprising. So if you look, we've had these constant wars going on in the Middle East, and everything going on in the Middle East is about giving Israel back to the Jews, right? It's like, we're trying to, you have all this stuff. I believe it's all orchestrated by this Jewish oligarchy, right? And I think I'm not the only one. There's lots of people that believe that. But if you talk about it, the problem is, it's like saying anything Muslim. It's like, now you got a Jewish friend or someone, they're going to be like, oh, you don't like Jews. No, I do. I like everyone. But there's obviously something really weird going on where 0.02% of the population has taken over the entire world. And Hitler saw this. And Hitler's like, the problem is that they also say that it's okay to kill a goyim in the Talmud. They also say in the Talmud that goyim don't have souls.
Wow.
So they believe that they have souls and we don't, and we're just like cattle. There's some really interesting things in the Talmud if you were to read about it, and a lot of that's in Europa, the Last Battle. They really discuss it, and Adolf Hitler, the Untold Story, they touch on it too.
And this is part of the Torah, the Talmud?
No, the Talmud.
It's part of the Torah?
It's a separate book, but it's a book that it even says in there they're not supposed to discuss it. So, like, I guess if you're I don't know if it's like reserved for like extremist Jews or whatnot, or if it's like maybe you have to make it to an elite level. But it is their teachings. It is part of their teachings.
That's interesting.
I don't know if that's introduced to all Jews, or like maybe you have to be like I don't know. I don't know those details. But you can read it. You can study about the Talmud, and it has some really interesting beliefs in it.
I feel like even though it might be controlled by like some single group, whatever group that may be, we're not gonna like be there to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like in our lifetimes, we're not gonna figure it out. Like it's just gonna keep going.
But if you ignore it, like what is it? I don't know who said it. Like Aristotle or someone said, like if you don't get involved in politics, the problem is if you don't get involved in politics, you end up being ruled by your inferiors or something like that.
I'm not saying we definitely shouldn't be aware of it and think about it and discuss it. I think it's smart that we do this. I'm just saying, like, I don't think, like, maybe not in our lifetimes that we're going to, like, expose who it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like it's so safeguarded that there's no way that they're going to allow, like...
But you ever heard of William Cooper?
Yeah.
He wrote a book. I want to say it was the early 70s, maybe late 70s. But he was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He thought he saw UFOs in the Air Force, which he may have, who knows. But he claimed he saw UFOs in the Air Force, and which led him down a path of research.
The rabbit hole.
After the book came out, I think he was dead within like a year and a half after the book was
Strange.
released. Yeah. But one of the things, his claim to he was an Air Force intelligence agent that somehow got involved with the CIA. You're never going to see any official records or anything like that. But his claim to fame was that NBC, ABC, and CBS, before they even were a thing, were created to basically misinform the masses.
Yeah.
And that radio was the same thing before TV.
Yeah.
And they were. He claims they were already bought and sold before they even existed.
And for the record, I love all people, and there are the blood that runs through our veins doesn't dictate who we are. How you were brought up dictates who you are.
Yeah.
If you hang out with someone, I have friends that you guys know me. Like I have friends that are Muslim. Amir is one of my closest friends. I have friends that are Jews. I don't judge anyone. but that doesn't mean that I can't believe that there's a small group of their
course.
religion
Yeah.
that have somehow come to power in the world.
Yeah.
Back to Amir, you know, like I meant to say this earlier. You know, when I went and visited Amir, have you been there and seen his house? Like
Yeah.
they have a gorgeous house, right?
Beautiful.
Like his dad had
Yeah.
it built, and man, I was visiting, and they decided to go on vacation, and Safet, you know, their dad just said, "Hey man, here's the keys. Have fun.
Yeah.
We're taking off." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"You're just gonna leave me with the keys to your house?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, we'll be back. Just hang out, have fun." I mean, how good of people
Yeah.
do you have to be? Like, I mean, I never would have even imagined that. I mean, their family was, man, such loving, caring people. Some of the best people I know, and never asked for anything from me.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. So I don't judge any people, and it's, you know, but again, like I'm super confident that the oligarchy is Jewish, and anyway, like the politicians are just chosen by them, and they're just put in place so that we don't see the big picture.
It's interesting you said, because I've literally, like, now that I think about it, like, I don't know any politicians that are Jewish.
No,
Isn't that crazy?
Like,
No.
I'd never thought about that.
No, they intentionally stay out of that because they don't want the people to know that they're running the world, but they obviously are. And then, like, you know, man, yeah, I can't think of the phrase that Bill Gates used. He said, I'm more powerful than the president of the United States. It was something like that. You know,
Yeah,
something to
probably.
the extent that, you know, he could make anything happen. He could make any law come to fruition.
Do y'all
you know?
think Trump is going to get reelected when the time comes?
Shit.
I don't know. I don't know where Trump stands, honestly. I think he's set out. I mean, I don't know why so many people hate him. I think he must be doing something good to be so hated, like, because that's negative marketing. That's marketing being put on by, like, Soros, the Rothschilds. I think that, you know, they're misinforming people. He said, you know, there was a recording of him saying something about grabbing women by the pussy or something like that. But fuck, if you recorded me in private, nobody in this world would like me, because we say shit sometimes just to make our friends laugh.
Right.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like you say shit because you're drunk and you didn't really think it through, and it sounds kind of cool, and you sound like, you know, it's like, I've said some stupid shit in my life. And man, what if he's there really trying to change the world? You know, the guy's loaded rich. What if he's trying to, like, I've got one friend who's like, man, every day sending me things like, man, Trump's taking on the oligarchy. He's up against like, there's a war going on right now, and he's gonna, and you know, there's some people believe that he's out here trying to change the world, and we may not understand everything he's trying. I'm sure it's all good intentions, but I don't think he's evil. Like, some people just think he's evil. I don't know, but only time will tell.
Yeah.
I think he just has a weird way of expressing his opinions, you know?
Not a very constructed way.
He definitely doesn't think things through. Like, I would think if I were a president, I wouldn't be so vocal on, like, Twitter, you know. And
Yeah,
just,
like,
he's. I
Twitter
mean,
is very
He's
informed.
but
very involved in that.
That was who he was before.
Yeah.
yeah.
And now you're just saying, okay, you're the president. Now you got to be somebody else.
Yeah.
No, you voted for me, and I was a crazy,
You know,
loudmouth.
he is a loudmouth.
Maybe you
That's
gotta.
just what he is.
Maybe you just gotta change your game plan up a bit. You know what I mean? That's
Trying
how
to be a
I
little more
would see it. It's
serious.
like,
yeah.
you know, if I was just like this big business tycoon, I'd be acting some type of way. I'd be acting some Wolf of Wall Street type of way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then if I became the president, like, I changed my way up. A
Yeah,
little bit.
you
know what I
gotta-
mean?
But would you really?
I think I would.
If you acted that way and everybody voted for you, he didn't stop acting like Trump.
Right. I mean, you know, still be who you
not like-
are, but like,
But he,
you know,
but he
dude.
came up to the presidency and he said, "This is who I am. I'm still the old Trump." And,
Yeah.
and he still made it in. That's if our votes count anyway.
yeah.
Trump won because they fucking tried to put Hillary Clinton against him, and that was the
That was a bad move. Like, don't do that. Like,
People would have voted for a chimpanzee before they voted for
Yeah,
fucking
no
Hillary
one likes
Clinton.
Hillary, dude.
No one. She's fucking.
People do.
they do. No, they do like her. Yeah.
People
they
do.
do
I
like
take
her.
IQ points off you if you like Hillary. I'm like, you like Hillary? Seriously?
She's insane. She said one time when she went to Bosnia, like during the war, she was like, yeah, like we got there and like, you know, we get to the airport and we can just hear snipers. Like,
Yeah, she's
from
like,
there.
I'm
what the fuck are
getting
you
out of the
talking about?
helicopter
Like,
and there's like bullets flying above my
you're in
head.
the most safest place to land in Bosnia. Like, they got people like looking after you. You got Secret Service around. What the fuck are you talking about? You hear
Yeah.
snipers. You don't hear anything. You're just blown shot of proportion.
Can't walk, falling down, fucking god dang.
Bill must have done something to her.
Yeah.
You know, like, fuck.
So, what about, let's change gears again. One of my other passions, we'll do the Bobby Passion episode. Cryptocurrency.
Oh,
Crypto.
man.
Any of you guys into crypto? Anybody here?
I got on the crypto wave like when it first became popular, like maybe like a year ago, like when it first like truly became like, you know, massively popular. And I put in like $200 and I haven't touched it.
You know who's heavily
keeping it.
involved? Narciss is like heavily involved.
Yeah,
there. Like
Narciss
he
and Marco.
monitors that shit every fucking day. Like he'll just send us Snapchats. Like he's looking at it. He's on vacation. He's fucking looking at it. Like he monitors this shit every day.
Yeah.
And every day he's just like, "You guys following with this crypto
I buy
stuff?"
currency date. I buy
You're still
daily.
doing it? Yeah, that's
daily.
sick. It's looking good now, right?
Well, not compared to where it was. It's like
Yeah.
$130 billion market cap right now. It saw a $750 billion market cap. I think that was January or February. I think it's gonna. I think it's gonna trump the stock market. I think it's gonna go to 50 trillion. Like we're talking 20 years from now.
Yeah.
I think fiat currency is going away, and cryptocurrency will take over the world. I'm a technologist, and I'm certain of it. Like I'm betting everything on
Yeah.
it. Like I'm so certain it's gonna. What's really frustrating for me is I didn't think it would happen, and I didn't think there would be the. Well, I don't even want to say that. I messed up. 4 years ago, I opened my Coinbase account, and I told my dad. I always mention it to him. And I was like, "Dad, I'm going to put like $5,000 in Coinbase." I was like, I believe in this cryptocurrency. I think it's going to explode." And I would have like 20 yachts right now if I had
Yeah.
just done that.
Yeah.
And it fell to the wayside because Coinbase had like this at the time 4 years ago. It took like 2 weeks to get approved to buy. Like they had to do a background check on you. It was all this stupid shit. You couldn't just sign up, right? And every time I log onto Coinbase and look at it, it has like when your account was created. And I have if I had just put $100 in 4 years ago, I'd be
That
loaded.
sucks.
But when I saw it ramping up in December of 2017, I got involved. My portfolio exploded. It was fucking awesome, and then it fell back down.
Yeah.
But I think that was when it went mainstream,
Yeah.
and everyone jumped in when it was already up like 3,000%.
Yeah.
And everyone jumped in,
That's when I got in.
and it's like that was a bubble.
Yeah.
That was a bubble.
Yep.
But it corrected, and now it's going to continue to climb, and it's going to continue to go mainstream. And a lot of people don't understand crypto because most cryptos serve a purpose. They're not even out there. It is a currency technically, but it's like for example, Wax. Wax is one I like. One of the largest markets on the internet is exchanging digital goods, like gamers. Gamers buy and sell skins for guns or bodies, for their games, and this is like a $1 billion market.
Yeah.
Well, it used to be happened in PayPal, but PayPal didn't have contracts, so it was always you'd buy something, you have to wait. Sometimes a day later, someone releases it. Cool thing about crypto is it has smart contracts, and that means that you're guaranteed your goods and also instantly in most cases. So now you can trade in a currency that's just for trading digital goods. So now all these gamers and most people on the internet have converted to Wax for buying and selling things, and it's finite. So the value of it, when a currency is finite, it can only be inflationary. It can't deflate. Whereas if you look at fiat currency, it can only deflate. It's the only thing it can do. And you look at Venezuela or Greece, and millionaires got wiped out, and billionaires got reduced to millionaires. But with cryptocurrency, that can't really happen. And they're not all just, some are out there just as like currencies. Like, hey, this is just a currency. Like Monero or Digibyte or Dash or in some case, Bitcoin. But they all have different purposes. Not all. Some of them are for specific markets like Fun. There's another one like Funfair, which is for the gambling market. It's you trade into this currency, and that you use this currency throughout all your virtual casinos and whatnot. And again, it's finite currency that can only go up in value. And it doesn't matter. You're not banking on a currency. It's basically a product at this point. But it's better than fiat currency because now it's not hingent on your country's. It's going to retain its value in the gambling market. So you can't lose your gambling value.
Wow.
Whatever gambling value you bought in at, you're going to maintain that. Whereas if you were in Greece and you were gambling and you put $1,000 in, your market falls out, your $1,000 worth pennies, or if you're in Venezuela or whatnot. But so now you have all these different services that they're starting to trade, and each service is adopting. Some cases they use a standard currency like Bitcoin or Ethereum or Dash or Monero or whatever. But some are creating their own currencies that are just for their service. So it's really, but all of these services have another thing in common, which is that they aim to take power away from that oligarchy that's in power, because they get their power from the central bank. Like that oligarchy that's in power, they in every country in the world except for like Korea and one other, they print out the currency and loan it to the government at 10% interest. So when you're printing out trillions of dollars a year and getting 10% interest for doing nothing, and this goes to private entities, the central banks are all these countries are privately held. That's what's called a monopoly. That's illegal. But we can't change it because they made the laws. They lobbied for the laws that makes it legal what they do. Although we can't do anything like this, remotely like this. That's the biggest monopoly in the world. So the cool thing about crypto that people are slowly going to realize is that it's a way of taking the power away from that oligarchy and taking away their ability to make money off of us. Yeah. That's the cool thing that I like about crypto is that you invest in crypto, it's finite, which means that it should realistically only go up. It's proven. It's been around since 2009, and year after year after year, it's made really good gains. And they can't take it from you. That's another cool thing is that if you have currency, anywhere, the government can just come take it from you. They can just shut down your bank account. They can take everything out of it. You got your money in cryptocurrency. No one can do that. And another cool thing about cryptocurrency is that I could have $1 billion on me and go from here to the Philippines and
still have it.
And I don't have to pay anything on it. I can just travel around the world. My money travels with me because it's virtual. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And still another benefit of it is that when you deal with a bank, to access your money, you're asking permission every time you go to an ATM. And I've been denied. Like, what the fuck? My account didn't work here, or I get charged $3 to use it or something like that. You're not asking anyone for permission. When you are in control, you're your own bank when you have cryptocurrency. So you have all these benefits of it. And I think the newer generations that come on, the cool thing is that every single generation is here, especially recently, way smarter than the last because of the tools that they're given at a young age. And like my parents are, they're okay on a computer. Like they can get their email and they can cruise YouTube. But the second generation, me, was much better. We could set up networks and wireless routers and whatnot. And then the new generation, they're like, you don't program in C++? Like, what's wrong with you? So for them, cryptocurrency is very easy. I think the newer ones, it's just like the problem. The only reason it hasn't had like serious mainstream, although it is going that way, is because older people don't know how to buy it. They don't know. They don't know how to do it. They don't know how to store it. And when they do store it, they don't store it right, and they just lose their investment because their computer crashes and they didn't back up the keys or something, or they didn't have, you have to know when you're the bank, you have to know how to back it up. But I think a solution will come along for that too.
I think so too. I mean, with every year, like the progression is real, like in terms of technology and in terms of our understanding of technology, you know what I mean? So every year is just going to keep getting better and better until it's hopefully being used on a worldwide scale.
There was a guy in Australia, and it's a famous article, but the guy was mining just on his PC, just on not even a rig, not even a mining farm. He was just mining on his PC, and he mined for a year or two, and he decided to get out of it, he kept his coins on a wallet on his PC. But the cool thing is, if you know the address of the wallet, that's public. You can give that to anyone. You can look and see with certain currencies, some are private. you can look and see what the value of your wallet is at that time. And he shut down his PC and then, bought a new one over time, as we all do. And then he took his hard drive out and put it in one of his drawers, and just wasn't really thinking about it. Was doing some house cleaning, cleaned up his house, threw away that drive. And last year he looked at his wallet, and it was $60 million. And this is just a regular guy with like a $50,000 income, right? But he threw away his wallet and he didn't have the keys. There's nothing he can do. He just lost $60 million. Yeah, he's even made pleas to the government to like hire a company to go through the dumps and like find the drive, and he would pay them with the recovered money, right? Yeah. But they wouldn't let him.
Gone.
It's gone.
That sucks. I actually had my phone stolen, and I had to get a new one, obviously. And so then my Coinbase app was deleted. But luckily, I kept my password and username in my notes on my iPhone, so I got it back.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I only put in $200, but still, like,
$200
knows,
is
10
$200,
years,
dude.
maybe, like, it'll be something nice,
Yeah, so I mine. I got into mining
Yeah,
a
you're still
year
doing
ago. Yeah, still mining.
Nice. I saw last night on the UFC fight.
They
Litecoin.
mentioned Litecoin.
Yeah, Litecoin is like a sponsor. That's so sick.
Yeah.
Bruce Buffer said, "Oh, you're Litecoin."
So that's cool. So where are you living in Miami? Like you're in Fort Lauderdale? Or
No, I'm in Miami. I'm in Coral Gables area. So it's literally like a perfect area. From work, I'm like 10 minutes away, which is Brickell, and then like we have Miracle Mile, which is like this really cool like little area in Coral Gables that have like all these restaurants and shops, and then from South Beach, I'm like 20 minutes away. So I'm like in a perfect spot,
Nice. I've been to Coral Gables. A friend of mine, his dad was he owned some commercial realty, and he managed commercial realty. And this is like 1999. But he's like, "Hey man, let's go down. You want to go down to Coral Gables with me?" And I was like, "Oh, He goes, "My dad's a multi-millionaire. He's got he's got a multi-million-dollar house, right?" And I was like, "Shit, yeah, let's go down there, man. This is gonna be fun." And we get there, and his dad has like this $100,000 house. Like it's like a beater house in Jack. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's decent.
Yeah.
It's like what would be $100,000
You weren't
in
expecting
Jacksonville.
it from a millionaire.
It's $1 million house
It's $1 million house
in Coral Gables.
Oh,
But
that's
it's worth 100K here.
It cost him.
yeah, it'd be a $100K house here, but it was $1 million house.
He hyped it up too much then.
Yeah, I mean, it had a pool in the back, but it was a little yard.
Yeah.
Like it's like there's only like 3 feet around the pool,
Yeah.
and then like
It's super expensive
It was
down
like-
there. Like I was actually thinking to like buy a house when my lease is up in my place now, but I don't know, man. It's too expensive. Like I might have to wait like 1 more year.
You know what like Danny's like neighborhood looks like? You ever seen Boys in the Hood? That's exactly like what the neighborhood looks like, but just like Spanish version.
No, but the thing is I live in like a really nice place, and Aldin had came over with 2 of our other friends, and me and my brother just went on like a little walk through where I live, and he's looking around, like looking left and right. He's like, "Hey, bro, is this Little Havana?"
No,
I'm
no,
like,
I said Little Haiti.
Is this Little Haiti? Yeah. I'm like, bro, if this was Little Haiti, we would not be walking around like this right now.
yeah.
It's a much different scene.
Yeah, because like the last time I had went to Miami, I was like 15, 16
Yeah,
years
you were
old.
young.
And like me, Narcissus, and like a bunch of our friends, like we're like, "Yo, let's just go to Miami one day and like tell our parents we're sleeping over each other's houses." So we end up doing this. And we leave at like 6 a.m. Like we get there finally like at like 12. We left at 6 a.m. Get there like 12. We only had like $30-$40 with us. We were like kids. Like we didn't have any money. We're walking around, whatever, get a slice of pizza for like $5. Like we're on South Beach, this and that. Later on in the night, we end up like meeting Flo Rida, like Chris Johnson from like the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
And like the next time I go to Miami, like that was the next time, like when I went to go
Was it
see
really?
Danny.
Damn,
Yeah, I
that's
never
crazy.
had went ever again. And like my parents were like, "Are you gonna tell us this time like that you're going?" Like, it
No,
was-
Miami's a cool place. I mean, it's really fun. Like, it's completely different than Jacksonville.
it's a different vibe.
When in 2003 when I got into jiu-jitsu, it was pretty small. Like there was one small school in Jacksonville. There's probably 1 or 2 small schools in Orlando. I think there were 2 at the time. John Burke was teaching one, but John used to come up and he used to actually come up and stay with me at my house. Like he was a brown belt under hoist
Yeah.
back then. And Shaq ended up training under John Burke.
Oh,
you know,
cool.
Shaq O'Neal. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool, right? And we all knew it here in Jacksonville. I never got to train with Shaq, but I was good friends with John, and all of our, John used to come up and teach us, and we all knew that, you know, he trained Shaq, which is pretty cool. So some of my buddies from my school, you know, a lot of my close friends, I didn't go to Miami, but they decided to go to Miami. And they were at a club waiting in line, and they saw Shaq going into the club, and they all started going. It was like Ryan Murphy and a couple of the guys from the school, but they're like, "Yo, Shaq!" And they're like, "We train with we're under Hoist. We're in Hoist's network, bro." They were holding up their shirts. They had the Hoist Gracie, and Shaq's like, "Yo, those guys are with me. Yo, come on." They brought him in, and they hung out with Shaq the whole night. And I'm like, "How cool is that?" Because you know,
It's that brotherhood.
It's that brotherhood.
That's awesome.
He's doing a lot of stuff now. Like he went to like a rave and he was DJing at a rave.
Shaq?
Yeah, Shaq.
Oh,
like he's doing a whole bunch of stuff. He's doing like stuff like on ESPN. Like
I think
being
he was
an
a cop
analyst.
too.
I think he might have been a cop.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he was a cop. That's so dope.
He's crazy rich. He was very smart with his money.
Yeah.
He owned.
Doesn't he own Five Guys?
I don't know.
I thought he
I
owns
know he
Five
owns a
Guys.
lot of like malls and he does. I know he owns a lot of restaurants.
Yeah.
But I've heard he's worth like well over 200
Smart
million,
guy.
like hundreds of millions.
His kid is really good at basketball. Like
He had
he's
heart surgery. You know that?
His son?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he had to take a break from basketball because he had heart surgery.
Damn, but he's still balling right now. So I saw a couple videos of him. He's something else, man.
I saw a photo with Shaq and The Rock.
Rock,
and,
yeah.
And I think it was like
Who else? Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
But holy shit.
I thought, it was crazy to see that because he looks so
Damn, he
small.
looks so small. Yeah, it's like
so weird.
You're physically inferior to Shaq. Shaq will smack you, and you ain't gonna do anything.
But
man.
it's funny because the caption on that picture was, "This
I
is
know
how I
what it
feel
feels
when
to be
I'm
Kevin
Kevin
Hart."
Hart."
Bro,
It's hilarious.
The Rock literally like he exhausts me. I see all the shit that he does. Like he works out at like 6 a.m. in the morning, goes again at like 9.
Yeah.
Like does acting
He's an
and all
animal.
this stuff. Like
His dad was huge too.
His
I
dad
saw
was
photos of
fucking
his
huge.
dad was just like him, jacked, man.
yeah. His grandfather, I think,
genetics.
was like a wrestler too.
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah, he started off playing football. Like he went to the
Yeah.
University of Miami, and then he was just like, you
Oh,
know,
wow, yeah.
he was getting in a lot of trouble and stuff like that. He was like, I need to take a different path, and decided to do like wrestling and stuff like that.
That's sick.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he has like a crazy like daily regimen, but that's why he's the Rock.
Yeah.
He's making
Well, when
millions,
you don't-
you know?
You don't have traditional work. Also, you know, it's like
Yeah.
I got the whole day to do what I want. I'm gonna
Yeah.
work out twice. You know.
Yeah, but I think like in the beginning, there was like a lot of self-doubt on his end, you know what I mean? But he pushed through it, and like I think that's where we get lost is like we'll have a goal or we'll have a thing that we want to achieve, but then that
blindsided.
self-doubt like blocks it, and then we got to overcome that,
It's-
you know?
It's so unreal to me to think about having millions of dollars. I couldn't fathom having $200 million. I couldn't fathom having 65 billion. Like I just couldn't imagine that freedom. You know, one of my friends from high school just stumbled into 7 million a year. He just fell into it. No college. No, he owned a shop called. We both got into window tinting. We hung out.
Yeah,
we
so you
started tinting
tinted the other
cars.
day, right?
Yeah, and I had a tent shop. He tinted out of his garage, and then he eventually moved to like Shepherdsville or something like outside of Louisville and opened up a little shop. And it was called the Tint Shop. And some dude comes to him and says, "Hey man," and Dennis is into trucks. He had a truck. He goes, "Hey man, I can program the chip in your truck and make more horsepower." And Dennis is like, "Really? Okay, yeah. Well, $100, I'll do that." So Dennis just added that onto it as a service. He's like, "Would you like to do this, for my customers? I got a lot of customers that have trucks." And he's like, "Yeah." So it kind of made a relationship with the guy, and the guy started programming chips for him, and it got kind of big. People started coming from other towns. "Hey man, can you program my chip?" And he started focusing on diesel trucks. And within a few years, he was doing like 10 million a year,
Jesus
and
Christ.
all over, getting contracts with trucking companies like Averett Trucking and shit. Like big
Yeah.
trucking
Like semi
companies.
trucks or like
Semis,
yeah.
everything, anything that had a diesel in it,
Yeah,
anything.
okay, wow.
He could take a 300 horsepower truck and just chip it up to like 1,000 horsepower. He said they're so detuned from the factory. Now they're not going to last that long like that, but people don't care. These
Yeah,
guys
they
have
want the
money.
power. Yeah.
and it's
If
$100.
you're driving these $70,000 F-250s,
Yeah.
they got the money. They
Yeah.
don't care.
That's sick.
But it just happened. Here's how much it just happened. The name of his company is TS Performance because it was the tint shop. Like, he didn't even. It's like now he's got all these. It just happened. Like he didn't even try. It just happened. Like one day he's like, "We probably shouldn't go by the tint shop anymore. Let's just call it Tint Shop Performance." Doesn't even make sense. Like
Yeah.
his name's Dennis Perry.
Yeah.
It doesn't even make sense. It should be DP Performance, but it just happened, right?
Right,
It just happened for him.
That's
and
awesome.
I stopped by and visited him. We were close friends in high school, but I stopped by and visited him, and he was just loaded.
Yeah,
just,
I mean, anything over $1 million a year,
Yeah,
I can't picture it. I mean,
I think he's making I think he's pocketing like $7 million a year. He's
That's
just got
insane.
ridiculous vehicles. His garage is multiple lifts, all kinds of vehicles like that he doesn't even drive. But anyway, yeah, that was it. He just fell into it. My wife's dad's brother went in for outpatient surgery at a hospital in Tampa, just in and out, same day. Like he went in, but he came out a paraplegic. They sued the hospital and got $200 million as a paraplegic. But Jesus, man, $200 million, and you don't pay taxes on lawsuit money,
Yeah, you
right?
don't.
Like
Oh, no.
$200
No,
million
that's in your
dollars. That's not like lotto money where you give up 40%.
that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like,
But-
even you said with Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, he just fell into it.
he was at a bar and like he got like
Yeah, he didn't
like a
apply. They just came
Yeah.
in and found him.
so beautiful.
But it was funny because when my wife came from the Philippines, like most Filipinos, they don't have nice houses. They're pretty. But when she came here, my house, she was like, oh my God, she couldn't believe the house I lived in. It was like, man, you all live really, But so her aunt and uncle invited her to go down, and she came back. She goes, oh my God, they live in a mansion. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure it's real nice. Like, it's like a mansion, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sure it's real nice. A lot of Americans have nice houses. It's like she's like, but I didn't comprehend what she was trying to tell me, right? And I didn't know that.
So I
she
bet
gave
they
me
have like a
$200
nice
million.
house.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and see, her aunt and uncle had moved from the Philippines to America, and they were nurses. And if something like that had happened in the Philippines, you wouldn't get any compensation. They'd just be like, "Look, we're sorry,
Yeah.
but
We fucked up.
we
Yeah.
fucked up.
Yeah.
Sorry."
Yeah.
So they weren't. Here's the thing: the uncle was happy that he was going to get disability.
Yeah.
He was like saying, well, at least I'm going to get disability. That's the great thing about America. And the neighbors who are Filipinos go, no, you need to sue the hospital. He's like,
wow.
oh, I can do that? And he's like, yeah, you can sue and get a lot of money. He had no idea.
Damn.
They sued the hospital, got $200 million. They gave the neighbors $10 million.
Oh yeah, man, that's awesome.
Because they had no idea. Like
Yeah.
they may not
That's
have
so
gotten
nice of
this,
them.
right? So
Those neighbors are living nice.
yeah.
That's sick.
But
Story about suing. I had a buddy one time. I won't mention his name. Funny story. He called me one day, out of breath, just like, took me 30 seconds just to calm him down. Turns out he had just on his mountain bike, riding here in Jacksonville. He used to ride before he got a car. He was broke. He got hit by a FedEx truck.
Oh shit.
Like, it knocked off his bike.
Damn.
And the FedEx guy gave him $100.
Oh,
Like, dude, that was your paycheck.
Fuck that up.
That was you got hit
Oh,
by
dude.
a FedEx truck
Yeah.
on duty delivering packages, and the guy gave him guy went to an ATM and got $100 and gave him $100 to fix his tire, and I was like, dude,
Wait,
Yeah.
that
Well, you could have caught
was that it?
never got the guy's name,
Oh,
Never
man.
got
I would have gotten the
the
license
truck
plate.
number, nothing like that.
Yeah, he
no,
lucked
but I
out.
should have called the cops
Yeah.
immediately
Bro,
or
I
called
would
an
have
ambulance.
been, yeah.
yeah.
I pray it's
Would
FedEx
have
trucks.
been knee
it's me.
deep in cases.
Young and stupid, not he was all right.
Yeah.
But
my man could
I
have paid off
would've-
his mortgage, bro.
FedEx truck hits me, I'm not getting up off that. You're taking me out in a gurney.
Bro, I'm saying you gotta milk it.
Soft tissue. Yeah, if you get hit by a FedEx truck, that's
yeah,
that's a payday.
Yeah, you're getting hit by a freaking
You're gonna
vehicle,
catch a
like-
check.
Damn, was he all right though? Like, was he injured?
It was fun. I mean, bruised up, but like I said, I wouldn't have got off the asphalt. I would have just laid there.
Maybe he was like in shock. He's like,
Yeah, he was just like, oh, glad that he was okay.
Yeah.
Just, adrenaline going. Just
Yeah,
got hit
going
by a
through a
FedEx truck. But dude,
That guy got off so easily, bro.
I bet that guy was sweating too though. The driver would have been freaking the hell out. Like, fuck, I just hit someone.
Yeah, I would have.
Yeah.
I would have shit my pants.
So what do you guys got planned for New Year's? You guys got any plans or anything?
One of the students, Alex, is having everyone over.
Nice, man. I love Alex. He's just like, I don't know him like that, but like I like him. He's a cool guy.
He's funny.
Yeah,
yeah, he's a
cool guy.
character.
Yeah, his son he trains right.
His son and daughter, they
Sick.
train too.
Oh, his daughter does too?
Yeah, he has a
That's
daughter.
awesome.
They're both really good. And
Nice.
Alex is getting.
Dude, Alex is really good. I
He's
remember when he
formidable.
first started, like, I was like, damn, this guy's like really good, and he just started.
Yeah, because he's super strong.
Yeah,
he's super.
he's
He's
strong,
he's
man.
like CrossFitting his whole life. He's really strong.
Oh, sick.
But he's smart too. You know, he learns fast.
Yeah.
And he trains in the mornings when Jason's
yeah.
here, and he puts in the work too.
Yeah.
So.
I used to love training in the mornings. That
Oh,
would like
yeah.
set my day.
That's
Remember, like,
awesome,
man,
man.
that would set my day so
Yeah,
perfectly.
anytime I can train in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I don't have the option in Miami. I think like the earliest class we have is at 12 noon, and I'm at
Yeah.
work, so it's like I can't really do that.
How's Mario's school doing? Is it doing really well?
Yeah, so he just opened up the new school where I'm training now, and it has like quite a bit people. I think we got 2 black belts, and then we have a brown belt. We have like 2 purple belts. This is just from what I've seen in the 2 weeks that I've been there. And we got a couple blue belts, and then we got like a good little bit of white belts. So it's a good little range. Yeah. And it's nice. Like, it's pretty.
So he's making a living. Looks like he's making a decent living.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was so sick because like I come to practice like the second day, and I see this nice Ferrari 488. I'm like, whose fucking Ferrari is this? And I thought it was Mario's, you know, just because him being Mario. And I'm rolling with this guy, and he's telling me like he did the gumball race. I don't know if you guys heard
Oh yeah,
that.
yeah, I've seen
Through
it.
Europe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, sick. I'm like, what kind of car do you have? He's like, R8 Spider, Audi. I'm like, wow. And I'm like, so is that your Ferrari? Like in the front? He's like, yeah, that's mine. And it was just so sick. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like this guy's doing jiu-jitsu, he's got a Ferrari. I'm like, I gotta be friends with him.
One
see
of
what the hell
Luis's
he's doing.
Black
crazy
belts who
who you
trains with
meet.
Luis has two Lambos.
Do you know what his name is?
Mike.
Oh, Mike.
Mike.
Yeah.
Mike or Michael. Mike.
No, I thought it was gonna be this other guy because I remember when I trained with Luis for a
Castillo.
moment.
Mike Castillo.
Um,
He
there-
owns a couple pawn shops.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's cool. Yeah.
I'd like to get him on the show. He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
We trained together back in 09 at WMA. Yeah, I used to be a big fan of Kim Schmitz. He had a moniker he goes by still to this day named Kimball, but he was probably the most famous hacker to come out of Germany. He was like a first he went to jail or prison for hacking like all the basically the equivalent of like Bell South or something in Germany. And he hacked a couple other places.
Wow.
And what he did was deleted everyone's bills and made everyone's like shit free, right? Like everyone got free service. And he got a good reputation, but then he got out and he became a white hat where he started consulting to companies
To prevent it.
just to prevent it, to
Yeah.
secure. And he ended up making like $200 million. But he was hiding all that money. But he had this website where he would show all the shit he would do with it. He'd go out and rent like Ferraris and Lambos, and he had several as well. And they just rag the shit out of him. They just take him out and fucking just do donuts in the field and wreck them, and they'd be dropping out of airplanes. And
What the hell?
they'd be doing. He had just too much money, and
Yeah,
he
that's when
also
you don't know what to
He
do
also
with
owned Mega Upload, and the U.S. government went
God.
after him big time.
What is that?
It was
I
like
remember that.
It was,
It was
a
a
sharing
while ago.
site where people would. Unfortunately, a lot
It
of
was
people
like almost like pre-torrent.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it was like torrent before
Yeah.
torrent.
Right.
Yeah, but
Wow.
but it wasn't his content. He was just providing a
Yeah.
place. You rented space, but people were uploading. Some people, not all people, were uploading illegal software
There
there.
was a lot of pirated video games. A lot. I remember Mega.
So
Wow.
the U.S. government sued him. The U.S. government sued him.
That's when you know you fucked up.
Well, but he wasn't American. He was German, and he wasn't even living in Germany. He was living in like New Zealand or something, and the U.S. government raided his property, and I want to say it was New Zealand, and took everything from him. They
Are they allowed to
confiscated
do
everything. Yeah, well, exactly. I'm like, are you allowed to do? It's not even your
Yeah.
country, right? How can you do that? But yeah, they took like all his money, and he's still got money. He's crazy. On top of being like an uber genius, he was one of the best gamers in the world. He could make millions gaming and does. A lot of people pay to
I
watch
feel like
him
that's a
game.
pretty cool job. Like just like a gamer,
Yeah.
and you're making
Yeah,
mad money.
that's straight.
That's not even a job. That's like when you're just so talented, you
Yeah.
can get paid for
Yeah,
someone to
that's
watch
kind of
your
like a hobby,
talent.
really.
Yeah. But I was fascinated with hackers for a long time, and probably the most famous hacking stories. There was this anti-hacker named let me see. It was Kevin Mitnick versus Tsutomu Shimamura. Tsutomu Shimamura, he was a white hat, got paid gobs of money. His parents were both like physicists for Harvard. You know, they're geniuses. He didn't even finish college, but all these Fortune 500 companies would give him money every month to just be on retainer, on retainer. So he made millions on retainer.
Yeah.
And the most famous black hat, or the most famous bad hacker, was Kevin Mitnick at the time. And Kevin Mitnick thought it would be cute to hack into Tsutomu Shimamura's fucking home network.
Man.
And Tsutomu saw the whole thing happening. It's like, look at this shit. That's not like he didn't know who it was, but it's like there was this war between the two of Tsutomu tracking down Kevin Mitnick. And he found out who it was and sued.
Some crazy shit.
Yeah, and it went to court, and Kevin Mitnick went to prison. And but in court, like, Kevin Mitnick admitted, he's like, "You are better than me. I bow down to you," or something like this. And like, for me, so like I'm as a technologist, like I fucking I get excited about like the hair stand up on my arms, you know. But like I read shit like this, right? And what was really interesting is they made that into a movie called Takedown, and it had some famous actors in it. Like I want to say, who's that fucking dude that does Pirates of the Caribbean?
Johnny Depp.
I want to say it was Johnny Depp. If it wasn't Johnny Depp, it was Skeet Ulrich, like his fucking cheap knockoff. but I think it was Johnny Depp. But there was it was like they got paid a lot of money, but I don't think they ever released it. Like for some reason they never took it to market. It was called Takedown.
Takedown.
Yeah. Takedown. It was pretty cool.
That's a crazy thing to be doing, like hacking and shit. That's like some crazy shit.
Yeah. You gotta be just a fucking smart brainiac.
Yeah.
You'd be a genius for that shit.
Yeah. And they have people that get paid to track down those dudes.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That movie, Catch Me If You Can, with Leo DiCaprio, he was like making false, like it was based on a true story. He was making false checks, and then like he hired for the FBI. That's so sick.
Yeah. Dude, when I was a little kid, and back before you understand morals, and I didn't. Like I'm so today, different. But I didn't know, man. I didn't know who I was hurting. I didn't know. My parents had a copier, and this is like the late '80s, and I went and like copied a whole bunch of like $5 bills on the front, the faces, and I was able to line up the backs, and then I would cut them all out, right? And I realized, and I found out that I could I found out that every place that makes change, like car washes, couldn't distinguish color. Yeah. So I would just like $200 a night, $300 a night. Man, I was taking out all these girls, and all I had was quarters. And I like had bags of quarters. Yeah. What are we doing? We're going to WePut. Awesome. And then I found out that like that's a federal offense. Like one of my buddies is like, "Bro, you better not get caught doing this. That's federal. You're faking." And I'm like, "Oh shit," But it was a good couple months.
Fun time. At least you didn't go like payday every day.
Paydays every day.
As much as I could print out, I felt like the damn.
How did it feel?
Oligarchy.
Like the material, like.
Yeah, well, I found a little trick, like because it had to be perfectly lined up. If it wasn't perfectly lined up, it didn't work. So I started off. I kind of got lucky on my first one. I realized you could do it, but I thought it would work, so I did it. But then I realized if I wrinkled them up, the machine would take that into account.
Yeah.
Like it'd be like, oh well, it's wrinkled. So I would just crunch them up and straighten them back out, and it practically took them all.
Real. Yeah.
Yeah, it took them all.
It's a good idea.
So, yeah, it's a good idea. Let me try that.
That's the real Coinbase,
right? Of course, yeah, it's not. I'm sure they were looking for me, right? But I was driving to every car wash. I would just go to the car washes. Anyway,
when you can get away with things a little bit easier.
And I was underage. If I would have got caught, probably would have been a slap in the wrist.
Yeah.
But that's it, man. So how long are you in town for?
I got here on Friday night, and I'm leaving Tuesday. And it kind of sucks because New Year's Eve is Monday, so we're partying Monday night. And I know I'm going to be like hungover Tuesday. So.
And what are you doing down there?
In Miami?
Yeah.
I work in finance. So I'm a supervisor to financial advisors, but I'm actually trying to become a financial advisor myself because that's where the real money's at.
Oh, yeah.
So I have to wait until July to take my exams for it because I got to wait a year until that. So my year is in July, and then I'll take my exams. Hopefully I'll do well, and then I can get on that FA role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They make good money. I know
They
they
make
get. I know.
really good money.
I've known some that made $250,000 as a financial advisor.
Well, the craziest one that I heard is this guy. He's making like $13 million.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a $250,000 was pretty like run of the mill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
that's
$250,000
standard.
you can make like within, I don't know, your first to 3 years, like as an FA. You just have to have a nice book of clients. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like
Naples, man.
that's
Go
the
to
great.
Naples.
Yeah, that's the great thing
That's where
about it
they're
is
all
like
at.
Miami and like South Florida in general just has that like elite group of people like who you can establish as your client base and just move forward with them. And it's cool because like Wilson also wants to become an FA, and then I have a really good friend who is already an FA in Jacksonville, but he wants to move down to Miami. So like I know we're probably gonna do some collaborative kind of work, and that'll be really cool because they're like my best friends. So that'll be pretty tight.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but right now like I'm just enjoying Miami, like just loving the life down there. But I want to move to California eventually, like when I start a family. Right now it's just fun.
Where to?
Cali.
God, man, I can't do Cali.
Why?
I don't want to do Cali. I don't like.
I've
Cali.
never been.
It's awesome,
sick.
man. It's fucking dope.
Yeah, Narcissus moved there. You know Narcissus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My wife's been a bunch of times. She's told me multiple times.
It's amazing.
You'd like to visit just because she knows me so well. She said you'd like
Oh,
to
okay.
visit, but you wouldn't want to live
You
there.
wouldn't
You
live
have to
there.
adapt.
I mean,
It's a different
why not?
life.
She said you just wouldn't get along. You'd-
Well, I mean, just from the standpoint of like earthquakes and it falling off, right? Like that right there is already enough to discourage me, right? Like just the fact that you might fall into the ocean one day along with your house and everything else. And then fires and fucking landslides. It just seems like
That's the
God's
crazy
really
stuff,
angry
yeah.
at that fucking that
That's
state,
the crazy
right?
thing
It
about
does.
Cali. But I think it's like it depends on where you live. Like I don't know how San Francisco is. Like I don't
It's
know.
nice, man.
Like I don't know if they have like that issue of like crazy earthquakes and like fires.
I swear all of them do.
Yeah.
They all, I feel like, have something fucked up
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah, and I wouldn't like. I always thought like Nevada would be the coolest place to
Yeah.
live, or Colorado, right?
Or
Colorado.
Utah.
Yeah,
Colorado.
I don't know a whole lot about Utah, but
Yeah,
but
Utah.
but I won't live near Yellowstone. Like Yellowstone's. Like
Oh
getting
no,
ready to
not
pop,
Yellowstone. Yeah, definitely
right?
not Yellowstone.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't even live in a state like
Oh,
because
okay.
they're talking to like they say like it'd be like a 500-mile radius that will just wipe that place out. And if you watch videos on it, it looks like it's getting ready to pop. They had a lake that's totally like the whole
It's
lake
like rising. Yeah.
has risen like 20 feet and like it's pushed
Damn.
water out. Like it's like a pimple that's getting ready to pop.
Yeah.
And they say that when it pops, it's going to kill everything within 500 miles. Like
Jesus.
the
If
plume
you've
of
ever
smoke.
seen 2012, like that movie based upon like the
Yeah.
end of the world, when they were saying like 2012 was gonna be it, dude. Yellowstone National Park is in that fucking movie. And
Yeah.
that lake you're referring to
Yeah.
fucking pops.
Yeah.
Like they just start running away from this
And-
fucking
and I think-
place. Like
Yeah, it's too probable. Like I think it's going to be in the near future in my
Oh,
you
man.
know. That's just my thing. But other than that, I think that like Denver would be like super cool.
Yeah, I'm jealous of Emilio. He's like up
Yeah.
in Colorado,
man.
man. He seems like he's having a great time up there.
I've got a cousin making fucking crazy money. He's got an 80-acre cannabis farm.
Oh,
He was one of the first to get a license. It was
Nice.
$10,000. He borrowed $10,000 from his dad.
That's
He
not
was-
even that much if you think about it, because
Not
like
at
a
all.
liquor license is like 100,000+,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's
Like,
Well, this
like
was he was one of
100K.
the first. Like right?
That's
when it
sick.
first got approved, he got it, and now he's got like 80 acres of cannabis, half indoor, half outdoor, and he's got 2 dispensaries. Like,
Man.
and all he does is travels the world and plays paintball now.
That's
Yeah,
badass.
yeah,
for him.
like on a paintball team.
That's so
Nice.
sweet.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Man, I'm telling you, if Florida would have elected this governor, Andrew Gillum or whatever, if they would have ended up electing him and having recreational weed and stuff like that legalized here, dude, that thing would have taken off with these dispensaries, man. It would have taken like a year.
It's
for
gonna
sure.
happen.
I think it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Gonna happen for sure. Not right
I-
now.
I think they're probably just
Yeah.
getting all their ducks in a row to make
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
to make sure that they get their piece.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And once they figure out how they're going to get their piece, then they'll.
they have to. They have
It
to
gives you
legalize it.
time to prepare for that,
Yeah.
because then once it does get legalized, you can lease a place and start getting these like dispensaries opened up, and then boom, like San Jose, they have 2 dispensaries right there. It's like obviously they're not like
It's just
bud.
medical.
They're like oils, but it's like called like Knox dispensary, and then like they have a place right next to it where you can go to the doctor literally to get your license. So
Yeah.
you can
How
get the stuff.
convenient.
Yeah, and it's next to Smoothie King, so it's a plus. You get big and go to Smoothie King.
That's some strategic marketing right there.
Exactly.
Aldin's gonna be their marketing department.
Get your script, get your
Yeah.
oil, get your
Like
smoothie.
we could just open up a dispensary right next to a firehouse. Everybody will fucking come firehouse.
Yeah, there's a ton of them down in Miami. It's only medical right now, but there's a lot of them down there.
Yeah.
There's a place on Beach Boulevard. It says like, "Yo, get your medical marijuana license here." Like next, like some insurance shop. It's crazy.
Yeah, we were looking into that. Me and my dad were looking at investing into a dispensary here, into a medical cannabis dispensary. Had applied and everything, but it was like they had
It's a process.
Yeah, they got a
stringent.
lot of
You got to have a
applications.
certain amount of money in the bank.
Yeah.
You got to have really clean records. You have to have. You also have to have like consultants on staff who have done this before, because there's
Wow.
certain systems you got to tie into, government systems. It was like we really went through the checklist.
Yeah,
we
like
applied.
agriculture and
we
stuff,
applied. We just
like-
didn't get it.
Yeah. At least you tried.
Yeah,
We tried.
Yeah.
You don't know what would have happened if you didn't try. So.
I think there's some good old boy network going on there.
That's what I'm saying. It's all that red. Once they get all the red tape figured out
Yeah.
in their advantage, then they'll
Yeah,
utilize
in
it.
their advantage. That's a
Yeah.
good way to put it. Yeah.
They
But,
write the rules.
man,
Gotta be in their advantage.
So, cool. Anything else we're leaving off we can cover before we split?
I think we had a pretty good conversation.
Yeah, not a lot of
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu, but I tend to, not a lot's changing in jiu-jitsu. I can't say that. You know, John Donner came out in 2018. He did change up a little bit. But I guess we'll try to close out on a little bit of jiu-jitsu talk. I'm just curious, is Mario's style pretty fundamental? Is he adopted a lot of the new systems?
Yeah, so the way he teaches his classes is he'll do a fundamental class first, and then he'll do advanced. And then, so 2 days of the week, that's gi. And then the other 2 days is no gi for the first session, and then advanced gi. And we don't really have like an open mat. It's kind of like a class where we roll. You know what I mean? So
He
like,
pairs everybody?
yeah, he'll pair you
Yeah.
up, set a timer, and it's like go roll, and then you just get as many rolls as you can, you know. But yeah, he's adapted. Like he does the stuff that you've been teaching us. Like I've noticed some things, but some newer stuff I've learned as well. But I've only been there for 2 weeks, so I
Yeah.
haven't really been able to see like fully how his style is, you know.
Yeah.
But what I like about him is he does kind of like an MMA kind of style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're learning this takedown, and I'm having a little bit of a trouble with it just because I haven't done it before. But I love that we're learning it because it's very useful in a street fight, I feel like.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of like what motivated me to want to do an amateur fight, like when I get my purple belt, because that'd be sick. And I mean, he did stand up as well, so he'd be a
Yeah.
great coach.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that'd be
Yep.
dope. Yeah, but I like him. I mean, he's cool. He's kind of like a military leader. It seems like, you know. So
Yeah, that style. I mean, I'm sure it's very similar to Luis. You know, that Luis really it's motivational. You know, they're
Yeah,
like,
it's
Come on,
motivational.
guys,
Yeah.
you gotta do more. You gotta do. You know, but it's hard. It's hard to stick a house mom in there. You know.
Yeah,
that's the
definitely,
thing.
definitely.
She's gonna drop off real quick.
you gotta like. I feel like it's good if you have like that monster mentality. Like you're
Yeah.
gonna go in there and you're gonna like
Yeah.
put in some fucking work. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of like the way I do it. Cause like I'll be at work, and I'm just dealing like with all my work stuff. And as soon as like 6-7 hits, I'm like I'm ready to go. Like I'm ready to like relieve some like tension off.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, like definitely putting. I mean, there is like women in there, but he pushes them too. Like he doesn't play around.
Yeah.
What's the average class there, right?
I would say maybe like 6 to 10 people, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good. So like you get the, focus on yourself, but like there's also a good little bit that you can mix it up with,
Yeah.
for rolling and whatnot and training.
But I think he just moved there in 2018. I mean, he
Yeah,
hasn't been
he
there
did.
very long.
Yeah, it's a new gym. He just
Yeah.
opened it up, but I think he had a different location before.
Yeah, he
this one.
did.
Yeah,
Probably 6 months ago or something.
yeah. This is like literally like this is 6 months in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a big deal. He was. It was a big. I remember reading. There was a big article about it.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, because he kind of stepped on Cyborg's turf.
Oh,
and,
shoot.
And took one of Cyborg's black belts, and I saw this exchange of stories going back and forth. It was kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got to be in his 50s.
Yeah, he's 50. He's 51. or
Yeah.
52. And it's funny. I was like, hey, like, when did you start training? He's like, when I was 5. I'm like, wow, that is so sick. Like, literally your whole life you've been training.
Oh man, yeah. I wish I had found
Same.
jiu-jitsu earlier.
Me and my brother started training when I was maybe like 15 and he was,
I was
like
like
12. Like, and I just didn't see the use and the benefit of it, you know, and I was just like still a young kid, but like, man, that's like one regret that I have.
Yeah.
Because like, if I would have stuck it out from 15,
What
Dude,
fucked
that
me
would've
up
been
was
like-
like my dad, man. Like he was just like, oh, you go play soccer. Like you're really good at soccer. Like go end up playing soccer, and you know, my hamstring ended up like really like messing up bad. So it like held me back for like the longest time. And I was just like, well, there goes soccer, Dad. You know, like. So I really wish I would have started jiu-jitsu or like any kind of martial arts like earlier.
It wasn't an option for me. I would have definitely, man. In 2003, in '93, I was glued to the fucking UFC watching it, and man, I was watching every, you know, UFC and MMA event you could find, you could dig up, and but there was nowhere to learn. One day I was in the gym and I saw this guy wearing a Hoist Gracie shirt, and I was like, dude, that is so cool. And he's like, oh, they're opening a school here. And I was like,
Sick.
shit. And I was the first student. I was the first sign up they had, and never quit.
yeah. I think that's the biggest importance is not to quit. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it had been around and when I was fucking 10, I definitely would have done it.
I was the same way. I watched the UFC and immediately went out and found the only martial art in my hometown was Taekwondo, but I immediately went out.
Yeah.
At least you did it, yeah.
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 Yeah, I did it for about 8.5 years
Wow.
steady throughout school, and then joined the Navy.
Yeah.
Sporadic here and there.
Do they teach like in the Navy, like any form of martial art? No.
No, the Marines. And
Oh, the Marines,
Army
yeah.
would, yeah.
Air Force
the
has
Navy,
them too.
The Navy might do something somewhere that I don't know. You know, there
Something
might be
special ops or something.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
might be somebody in definitely in Navy SEALs.
Yeah, I
I
feel like they have
guarantee
to.
they're doing all kinds of
Yeah.
grappling training in the Navy.
I
SEALs,
wish more
all those.
cops would do like jiu-jitsu training.
Yeah,
Like
They
to
do.
make it part of their like training.
yeah.
When I was I gave a seminar at Ramstein Air Force Base, and one of the guys there was a blue belt, and that was his job. He taught
Oh,
combatives.
that's sick.
He taught combatives for the Air Force. So
Yeah.
I want to say every base has one. I could be
That's
wrong,
really cool.
but that was his job there. And so at blue belt,
You
they
could
take you
as
to
a
that job.
blue or a purple belt. Yeah, you could join the military and say, "This is what I want to do."
Yeah.
I don't even give me any other options.
Wow.
And they would, with credentials like that, they would slide you right.
Yeah.
One of the we had a
Right,
yellow
so-
belt that trained with me and another friend of mine. He kind of started with me, but then went Gracie Baja. But he came back. He would come back and train with me from time to time, and he joined the Marines, and he was only a yellow belt when I don't think he ever got his blue belt. You know, he just never trained regular enough. He trained really hard up through yellow belt, but just never. I don't think he ever got his blue belt. I'm sure he didn't. And he beat up his. I think it's called a map. I think they call them map instructors. I think that's the name for them. But you know, he beat up everyone when they do grappling in the Marines, right? And he beat up everyone, and they put him against the instructor, and he beat the instructor.
Whoa.
And they changed his job. They made him a map instructor and gave him a black belt. So
What?
yeah, I mean, it's not a
Not officially official.
yeah, it's not a
It's an army like that.
yeah, it's like it's a Marine, it's a map black belt.
Right,
It's,
right.
But it means in the military.
That's pretty cool though.
If you beat
Yeah.
the instructor,
Yeah, you kind of have to.
They
get
don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
So I thought that was pretty cool. Like from yellow belt to map black belt, kind of tells you the level of the black belts that are teaching. But
Yeah.
so if you're a good blue belt,
I heard Hickson is like hating on the new black belts. He's like, y'all aren't real black belts. Like,
Yeah,
this
if you're
isn't
not-
what I've been doing.
if you're
Like,
not training the self-defense, and you got to train with punches, like that's something I'm doing more of now is, and I've asked all the guys to get Shudo gloves, you know, and
that's
there's
sick,
one or two of the
man.
students that I'm doing it with, but
Yeah.
I wanted to start doing that. I'd like to see everyone. I'd like one class,
That's
one or
awesome.
two classes a week where you put on the gloves and open up submissions by punching, right?
just like light, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
You know who I think is really good in the school is that kid. I think his name is Jeremy.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
that kid's gonna be he's already a monster.
Yeah.
He's gonna be amazing.
His
though.
hands are really good. But then we got this dude named DiCarlo that came in, and them hands, holy shit.
Was that them boxing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. They were killing it.
That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, DiCarlo's a lot bigger.
Yeah,
but
much bigger.
Jeremy holds his own, man.
Yep.
They both
He
got
had
them
good like
hands.
bobbing in and out. Like he
Yeah.
was dodging him nicely. I liked it. Aldin was a pretty good boxer too, man. Like I remember when he was coming to this gym, like he would beat my ass.
I was doing boxing over at this place called Renaissance Boxing over on Atlantic.
Yeah.
He was killing.
I liked it. I was doing it for a solid like 5-6 months, but the problem was like the coach there, like he would only call me when membership fees were due.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I would go in there and I would love to go in there and like box and stuff like that, but then he would put me in the fucking ring with like 200-pound guys and like, you know, like they would try to fucking kill me. And then on top of that, like he'd be like, hey man, like I haven't seen you in like 2-3 days. Like what's going on? Like I'm like,
No, he was just pushing you.
he was
just
no.
pushing you.
I was down to come, man. Like, and I'm always down to come. But it's like every single time he wanted me to come in, I felt like membership fees were due.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, like I'll come, like you know, but like call me to come, like membership fees aren't due, you know.
Right.
But I miss it. I want to get back into it. The only thing is, I kind of want to try out another gym, but Jacksonville's so limited to the amount of boxing gyms that they actually
Really?
have. Yeah, there's only like 2 or 3 here.
Oh, okay.
I'd be down to try like Muay Thai though, or something like that.
Yeah.
That seems interesting, and then like incorporate some Jiu-Jitsu into it too, because
Yeah.
then that way you got like the whole thing going on, you know.
I think Marco told remember Marco, right?
Yeah.
He is trying to get back into jiu-jitsu again, but I think he's going to be going to Louise because he lives like literally like 5 minutes away from me.
Yeah, that's cool.
I was telling him like, yeah, Louise is like a really good professor.
Yeah. He'll do well there.
Mm-hmm. And Marco was good too. Like you just had to keep coming a little bit more. You remember Marco, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very tall.
Seki. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Cheki.
Czeki. There you go.
Czeki.
Yeah.
Shaky.
Most of the C's in Bosnian or Serbian, Croatian, they will have the accent mark over it. So it'll be a ch.
Ch.
Most of the names end like that, like Vich or Ich. Yeah.
Cool. All right, man. I think we're gonna wrap it up.
Cool. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us,
Yeah,
man.
this was really fun.
Yeah. Thanks for being on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jeff, as always, thanks for coming on.
Mhm.
And I guess we'll see you guys next time.
For sure.
Peace.